What is up, everybody? Welcome here to Pop Culture Philosophers. Welcome, in fact, to Rockin Robbie Live here on a Sunday night, March 27th, 2022, to be exact. How is everybody doing? Station, pop, pop, boom. We are excited to be here tonight. We have a great show planned tonight. I hope everybody checked out Blame Fable tonight over on Instagram. We are the official after party, and at the very tail end of that program, and it was great. They had Empire Comics on there. They talked about that deleted Joker scene in the Batman movie. They did a movie review of Baby Driver. Empire Comics showed some ballin'-ass comics. Fable had a haul. Then he shared all of the love that he had gotten out there from the YouTube comic book community at large and the PCP Army at times in specific. And y'all, it warmed my heart, and I cannot wait for little baby Roman Fable to show up and join the PCP Army. So, Station Fable, congrats on the upcoming new baby, and safe journeys, and have a good hiatus, and all that jazz. That was a very touching moment, and I don't like being touched. Anyway, I'm just kidding. That was awesome. So y'all had a great show tonight. Station, Blame Fable tonight. Going to be back in a few weeks. A little bit of a hiatus, they say. A little bit of a hiatus. So once you're in the chat, let us know that you're here. Throw out a station. Throw out a pop, pop, boom. Throw out a whatever you want, because we got a great show lined up tonight. First of all, we're going to be talking about our favorite comic books from last week. Then we're going to look ahead at what's coming up in shops this week, including the DC Comics sneak peek. DC's releasing books this week. I read them. I'm going to let you know what I thought about them. Then I'm going to tell you what I thought about this movie called X that just came out in a pretty much spoiler-free review. I won't spoil anything that's not alluded to in the trailer, though there's some spoilery type stuff that's really cool in that. Then we're going to have a Marvel in the 80s segment. We're going to be talking about 8-Diagram Pole Fighter, my latest journey in Kung Fu Hong Kong cinema, guided by my Sifu Bullseye Bob of Everything Comics. We're going to have an animated annotation on X-Men animation, and we're going to do a little bit of show and tell, have a lot of fun. But even though we got a grand plan, grandiose plan, if you will, this show is driven, fueled, if you will, by your questions, your thoughts, your comments, and your concerns. What do you want to talk about? Get your thoughts in right now. Let's see who is up in here. First of all, we got the artist formerly known as Jesse Say What Station, my dude. What is up? Taki is in the house. GT Key Comic is in the house. Eddie is in the house. Spillio Station, my man. How you doing? Hey, Hammer Time Holeshoe's in the house. That reminds me, everybody, we're about to be recording a new episode of the podcast, and you're like, wait, we haven't even heard the Bondcast yet. That's right. Be assured that the Bondcast drops this week, I believe. Is that not right? Hammer Time Holeshoe. I believe that's right. I think we finally got the edit right, and we're going to release it to the public. But, of course, if you're on Patreon, you can check out that unrelenting, unedited, uncensored recording of the podcast. But we'll be doing it again this upcoming Friday night, I believe at 9 p.m. Central Time, for our next podcast, Comic Book Villains. It'll be me, Hammer Time Holeshoe, Dashing Drew Matson, and Jolly Joe Corallo. It's going to be a great show, and I'm excited. So if you're on patreon.com/PCP, like these fine PCP patrons right there, you at the $5 level and up have access to the live recording, so you can watch the podcast as we're recording it live on Friday night at 9 p.m. Central Time. And Hammer Time Holeshoe has confirmed the Bondcast drops tomorrow. So everybody, the podcast, the PCP podcast, Pop Culture Philosophers, that's how we started. That's what we're doing. That's what we're continuing to do after like a 2-year hiatus. It is finally back. The Bondcast drops tomorrow. Check it out over at popculturephilosophers.com. And then, of course, it's on iTunes. It's on all these podcast services. And, of course, it'll be dropping here on YouTube very shortly. But check it. You can download it at the website, popculturephilosophers.com. You can also buy merch there, things like that. Lots of cool stuff. Anyway, we really appreciate all the support. You're allowing us to continue this dream of delivering positive, insightful, and entertaining, hopefully, commentary on our pop culture society. You should check out, by the way, Pop Culture Philosophers on Facebook and on Instagram. If you're on Facebook, you might as well join the PCP Army. That's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. And if you're on Instagram, be sure to check us out every Wednesday night at 6:30 p.m. Central Time for Comics and Karaoke with Rockin Robbie. I'm honing what I want that show to be. Basically, it's like got a topic. Then it's got a haul, what I bought that day, new comic book wise, and maybe some old school comics too, some back issue diving, dollar bin diving. And then I sing a song. And this last week, it was When I Come Around by Green Day. So that was always fun. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at the Rockin Robbie. And of course, check us out at popculturephilosophers.com, like I said. And you can support the channel at patreon.com/PCP. What does that get you? Aside from access to the live recordings of our continuing podcast adventures, it also gives you a downloadable audio only, a downloadable audio file of the weekly comic book review, available hours before it drops on YouTube. That's not going to happen this week, though, because 311 is in my town this Tuesday night. So when I get done reading all the comics, I'm going to go live and deliver the weekly comic book review this week live. That's what I'm going to do. That way it's done, and we're good, and we're gone, and I'm excited that 311 is in my town performing for the second time, I think, in their career, maybe. Could be wrong about that, but I think it's the second time. Anyway, how's everybody doing? Jorm's in the house. Moni Moni's in the house. Moni Moni's over there on our Patreon list. Thank you so much, homie. Two Gun Pedro. Pew pew. Luke Meister. R. Ariaga. Also over there, I believe. I believe that's you. I'm good at deduction in certain times. Thank you so much, everybody, for the support. Dave Cerrone's in the house. Yeah. What's up, Hamburger Basket? What's up, Nova69? What's up, Trenton? Just got off work in time to catch the live. Glad you're here. Fizbin, did you see the Avengers Forever 5 cover yet? What the heck kind of Spider-Man is that on it? New suit? You know, I'm sure I saw it. I guess if I ordered it already. I think I've only ordered 4. I don't know if I've seen it yet then. So I don't know if I know what we're talking about there. Keith, what's up, my man? Just remember, and I quote, there's this door down here, and I bet there's something behind it. You know it. Dominique's in the house. Just got done spending $350 at Fantagraphics 2-for-1 sale. Got a bunch of Love and Rockets, EC Library, and some Basil Wolverton. Hell yeah. Yeah, I believe that wrapped up today or yesterday or something like that. But yeah, they were doing a 2-for-1 sale over at Fantagraphics. I was tempted, but I did not partake. Did not partake. Trying to save money for a new vehicle and also trying to save money to go to Heroes Con. Plus, Memphis Con is in September, and they just added Kevin Nolan to Memphis Con. So, hell yeah. If you're planning on being on any of these shows, I will be there. We should plan a meetup, by the way. So, Huntsville Comic Pop Culture Expo. That's in April. In June, Heroes Con. In September, Memphis Comic Expo. And then in October, Scarefest. Marco's in the house. Tyler's in the house. Station, y'all. Oh, I knew it was you, Ariaga. Savage Spider-Man paper. Wow, worse than I thought. Yeah, pretty effing bad. I say pretty effing, but we're past the 5-minute mark. It's supposed to be Ant-Man and Spider-Man mix, says Trenton. Phillips in the house. What is up? Glenn's in the house. Long-time listener. First-time caller. Finally got to catch a live. Happy that you're here. Thank you so much, Glenn. Slipknot's playing in Birmingham on Tuesday. That's cool. I was never necessarily the biggest Slipknot fan, but I'm not, offended by their music. When they're playing, I'm digging it. It's fine. I never dived in. Super crazy. But 311's one of my jams. I haven't seen them in years. There was a point where I was seeing them every single year. So I'm excited. They're coming to my town. There's no way that 311 comes to the town of Rockin Robbie. And Rockin Robbie doesn't go visit 311. That's just the way it goes, you know. Anyway, what's coming up here at the channel? Well, first of all, join me tomorrow over at the EXP at 5 p.m. Central Time, The Experience, where we have the Comics and Collectibles show. I'm joined by the good, fine folks over at Dynamic Forces / Dynamite Entertainment, like Rex and John. They got some great collectibles, comic books, sometimes statues, things like that. Lots of great offers, but just also lots of great conversation. By the way, if you're ever at dynamicforces.com and you want to buy something, enter Robbie at your cart, and that will get you 10% off. And right after that, at 8 p.m. Central Time, tomorrow night, we're wrapping up March Madness in a way with April Fool's Day, the 1986 April Fool's Day classic. I absolutely love this film, and I'm very excited to see what my cohorts will think about it because it's going to be very divisive. if I had to guess. So April Fool's Day tomorrow night for March Madness. That's right. It's April. No, it's March, but it's kind of like April Fool's. It's kind of a bit. Then, of course, Thursday night, it's that time of the month again. We got the best comics of the month stream Thursday night here at Pop Culture Philosophers, 7 p.m. Central Time. It's going to be me. It's going to be Manny from Tomorrow Cinema. It's going to be Brando from Comics Kings. It's going to be Verno from The Cerebros. It's going to be Nick from Comic Culture. And it's going to be Greg from Bearded Comic Bro. And then March Madness concludes in April with Midsummer, and that will be on Dylan's Horror Show Saturday night. We weren't able to do it this last Saturday. It's got pushed back, so I guess we should say April Fools. We're going to end March Madness with Midsummer in April, so that's rather interesting if you really think about it. So how is everybody doing? Glad to see you here. Hey, Empire Comics in the house station. Bruh, those... You were showing all those comics. You were like Richie Rich, and I'm starting to fucking blank now. DuckTales, Aladdin, Lion King, Garfield. You got my heart right there, bro. I got all 12 issues of James Bond Jr. As silly as that is, I got all 12 issues. I got random issues of the Marvel Silverhawks. I got the Centaurians, not the Centaurs, but what's the insect one? Centaurs or something like that? Insectarians. I barely even remember the name of that one, but I got some of those. Like, I eat that shit up. I got the Mask comic book series from the 80s in Marvel. Fantastic stuff. Don't have all the He-Man stuff. I would like to have the classic He-Man stuff at least collected. Some of those prices have gotten a bit pricey, but it would be cool to have those. But yeah, you're right, dude. If there was a comic book property, or if there was a toy, or back in the 80s, there were toys. Everything was a toy, a comic book, and an animated series. And that's just the way it was. And that Mad Balls comic, bruh, I want one of those. I have one Mad Ball, and it's the Mummy one. Fucking love it. Anyway. Yeah, all 12 issues of James Bond Jr. can't be hard to find. Can't be expensive at all either. Found mine in the quarter bins. Philip says, excited for those coming to Charlotte for Heroes Con. I'm buying beers afterwards. Hell yeah, Philip. I'll let you know. Yeah, we'll meet at the right bar. We'll hell yeah. Heroes Con's the best, man. I've only been there one time, but it was like one of the best con. It was the best con experience I've ever had. Aside from like doing my own cons here and meeting fine people like Jim Shooter and Chris Claremont and Michael Grell and Fabian Nicieza and tons of Power Rangers. Oh, I love me some Silverhawks. Oh my God. So good. Heroes Con's great, though. John Romita Jr. is like their guest of the honor this year, so that's super, super freaking cool. All right, we're going to go into the first 5. What do y'all want to chat about? Get your conversation topics out in the conversation chats right now. We're going through my Blu-ray collections. We're still in the P's. We're going to be in the P's for a minute, actually. But we have inherited the first 5 and the final 5 from Bueller. He has passed that torch to us, so we know we have officially retired the first 6 and the final 9. And in honor of Bueller, out on the road right now. Think about Bueller right now alone eating subpar chalupas across the country. My man Bueller, though. Station. We're going through the Blu-ray collection. So first 5, we're going through Blu-rays. There's my copy of Poltergeist. Very bare-bones copy. I don't know if there's a better, more special edition, but if there is, I'd like to get it. The Prestige. Christopher Nolan. Now, a lot of people like this film. I like the film too, but I'm a big Christopher Nolan head, and this is one of those lower tier Nolan films for me, but it still means that it would be the best of any other director. So, The Prestige, that's a good, solid film. John Carpenter's one of my favorite directors. There's Prince of Darkness. That's the Scream Factory Blu-ray. Love that movie. Princess and the Frog. I like Disney movies. I like Disney princess movies. I was very impressed with this movie when it came out. I thought it was visually stunning. I liked the villain. I liked the music. And then we got Prometheus from Sir Ridley Scott. Is he a sir? I think he is a sir. I think he is. Anyway, then we got Prometheus right there. I actually really like this film, and I like Alien Covenant, so I guess what the hell do I know? But that's your first 5. Presented to you by Comics with Bueller. I won $100 in Amazon credit, and I plan on using it to buy some hardcovers. Any recommendations? Trenton, what do you like? Oh my goodness. If I had $100 right now to spend on Amazon simply on a hardcover, I would buy, because these are on my wish list, I would buy the Roger Stern Spider-Man Omnibus, and I would buy the, this one's on my wish list. I really want to get this one. It's the Jack Kirby Captain America Omnibus, but it's the 70s stuff, like the Mad Bomb stuff. That stuff's dope. Outside of that, you can never go wrong with pre-ordering the complete 8-ball. It's in paperback, but the hardcover's rather expensive now. I would highly recommend that. That comes out, drops in August. Also, if you can get the complete Hate, if that's still available, that's about $100. I would recommend that by Peter Bagg. Really good stuff. He has been knighted. Okay, thank you, John. JT's in the house. 62 Lefty Blues is in the house. Hell yeah. Mask would be awesome to find. I remember that cartoon. Yeah, I've never dived into collecting Mask figures and vehicles. I would love to, but Motu is enough of a commitment as far as vintage toys go. And I get Silverhawks when I can find them cheap enough, which is rare. And those are pretty much, are those the only vintage I collect from the 80s? I do collect vintage Toy Biz figures, obviously, from the 90s. The Marvel stuff in particular. And I do collect Superpowers. I forgot about them. And Secret Wars. Okay, never mind. Comic Book Heroes, 80s and 90s I collect. I'm a sucker for a good story. Don't care much about the genre. Just ordered the Reckless books. Yeah, I've only read the first Reckless book, and I really liked it, so I'm excited to dive in some of the others. But those are the ones, those are things that would be like, that's what I would spend it on. I already got the Hate one, though. I got complete Hate, so I got that covered. There is a $500 complete Zap Comics, which I believe is on the verge of going out of print, that, oh man, I want. But it is just no way I can get that right now. God, it bothers me so much. Hamburger Basket says, I know Jim Mint reviewed the complete Swamp Thing Volume 3, I believe. Just an amazing hardcover. The one thing that I haven't committed to those hardcovers yet because I'm not certain on how I'm sold on the recoloring. I got to actually really kind of take a look into it. DMZ is actually a really good read. I haven't watched the show. I heard the show's okay, but it's not necessarily... It's based on the book, but from what I've heard, it's very different. But the DMZ comic is actually really good. What I've read of it. I haven't read it all. But Brian Wood at that time was really pumping out some good stuff. Demo, DMZ. From him, I would highly recommend the Couriers. Couscous Express. You can get a Couriers like complete edition. It has all 3 graphic novels for the Couriers and Couscous Express. That's worth it. And then you can get Channel Zero by him. Is really, really freaking good. What's up, James? What's up, Kags? Any recommendations for Marvel from the late 70s, early 80s? Well, the easy one, X-Men, and the easier one, Daredevil by Frank Miller. Outside of that, late 70s, early 80s? Ugh. Well, I mean, it's like this in the late, when I think of late 70s, early 80s, I'm thinking of the stuff by John Byrne. I'm thinking of the stuff by Dave Cockrum, of course, but I'm talking about the stuff by like Frank Miller. Like I'm digging that. Jim Starlin's kind of making his path really known. I wasn't really necessarily super digging into that. I've never really gotten into the Starlin whole cosmic epic, just pieces here and there. So, but I mean, it's Miller and on Daredevil. It's Claremont and Byrne and Cockrum on X-Men. 100%. I don't know. I mean, surely if somebody else is in the chat, I don't know. If Joe, if you're out there listening, maybe you can help us out. Sometimes Joe's listening. You never know. Joe Corallo, if you're out there, let us know. GT Comics says, Daredevil Born Again, Frank Miller run, best Daredevil run ever. I agree with that, 100%. Hey, what's up, Scott? How are you doing? Cards fans in the house, what is up? Have you ever seen the covers for Superman's Girlfriend Lois Lane? They're hilarious. Yes, Frankenfrog, absolutely. We have several. We have a big collection of Superman's Girlfriend Lois Lane because Superman's Girlfriend Lois Lane and Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen were big sellers in those days, and they're very common to find in in collections that we pick up. So we've had tons of them, including the one where Lois decides to become a black woman for a day and write a story about it. Mike says, Starlin's Dread Star is awesome. I've always heard that. I've never jumped into that myself. WKRP in Cincinnati. What's up, David? I used to love that show when I was a kid. JT says, I don't have my glasses. My vision's getting blurry, but I will be listening. Station to all. So, yeah, thank you. GT Key Comics says, early 80s good read. Larry Hama's G.I. Joe from Marvel. Yo, Joe. Larry Hama's going to be at Heroes Con, so that's really exciting. Gotta get him signed something. Probably my Wolverine 50. I wonder how many of those he signed in his damn career. May I assume you are Pop Culture Zone? I don't even know what that means. WPCP in Alabama. Thank you for that, JT. It actually works really well. I like that. All right, it's time to talk about comic books. Let's look back to last week. What was your favorite comic book last week? In fact, I want to know, out of everything you read, out of everything you picked up, what was your favorite? What, in fact, was your pick of the week? My pick of the week was Ghost Cage #1. This one is from Nick Dragotta. We know Nick Dragotta as the artist on East of West, which I absolutely love and adore. And you got the Frank Martin coloring there on the cover, and it looks very East of West-y. But the book doesn't very necessarily vibe like East of West. It's got its own kind of thing. Whereas East of West, which of course was written by Jonathan Hickman, this is Nick Dragotta now writing this book, along with Caleb Gellner. I don't know how to necessarily get in that. Russ Wooten is the letterer, and this is fantastic. Now, it's got a different vibe. It's got more of a Katsuhiro Otomo kind of feel to it, especially with the artwork. That's mostly what I'm talking about. Is the artwork is very Akira-esque. The use of zipatone screens, things like that. Even if it's digital here, and I don't know if it's digital or physical because I'm the worst apparently at figuring that out. I don't know. It could go either way. It's probably digital. I don't know. Anyway, that being said, the artwork in this book was amazing. So the story is decent. I liked the story. I thought it was interesting, an interesting concept. So it's about this dude who runs a power tower, a power plant, provides most of the power to the planet at this point. And there's an outage now, and it's because somebody is in there and it has caused an explosion. Now, for some reason, in this tower, there are avatars, personified, coalesced thought forms of all these different types of energy, from coal to nuclear and everything in between. And when the bomb went off that caused the power outage, it unleashed all of these monsters, and they're all on a different level. So this dude who runs this place has created this eyeball sentient artificial intelligence cloned being, something like that, birthed out of a jar. He's on a mission now to go into this tower, find this person who set this bomb off, and along the way, up through each level, basically defeating each boss. So the avatar of coal, the avatar of hydrogen or hydropower, the avatar of like solar power, something like that. The way it's going to go, right? And that to me was interesting enough. And there's this other character in there kind of thrown in, but the artwork was the biggest sell for me. This is a $5.99 comic. It's a 3-issue series. But I liked it. I liked it a lot. I loved the artwork. I loved the boldness of it. It is a deliberate homage to Otomo's Akira, to Otomo's work. The use of those screens, I freaking love it. The use of black and white. This is one of the best black and white comics I've seen. We saw recently Dustin Nguyen do some really interesting black and white stuff on, those are the different levels, by the way, and the different people he'll have to fight. So coal, hydro, gas, wind, and nuclear. And then probably some new form at the top that we can't see. That's right. It's covered up by a letter balloon, actually. But the artwork is absolutely fantastic. So it's a familiar line work from East of West, but with the spaciousness and the epic scope and the screen tone usage of, say, like Otomo's Akira. And I freaking loved it. I loved the story. It's very video game centric. It's very cyberpunk's the wrong word, but it's very appropriate for people that like hardcore sci-fi type stuff, and video games and manga. This book was awesome. $5.99, but it's a meaty, chunky story. Lots there. Good, solid paper quality. We got to focus on that now. It does droop, but it doesn't do this. It falls out there, but it's a pretty solid book. $5.99, 3-issue series. Going to make a good graphic novel. I loved it. So I want to know, what did you think of Ghost Cage? And also, out of everything you read last week, what was your favorite? What was your pick of the week? So let's take a look. Let's take a look at what people are saying. Jumping up. Azar's here, listening to you here in Malaysia while driving to work with traffic back to back. Well, station. Sorry you're stuck in traffic. What's up, Will? What's up, Trenton, again? So many books, it's hard just to choose one or two. Marvel printing on toilet paper. Will C says, Until My Knuckles Bleed is the pick of the week for him. GT Key Comics says, Ghost Cage. R. Ariaga says, Rogues was my pick of the week. Rogues was really good. It was on the edge of making my top 5. Hamburger Basket says, pick of the week, Rogues, my bad. Why did I say Rose? Rogues. Snart, Leah Max, and Williamson. Williamson is the man at DC. I agree. Cag says, Ghost Cage was very good, but also action has been very good. Yes, action has been good. Tyler says, loved Rogues and The Fourth Man, number 3. Picked up Ghost Cage, but haven't read it yet. Dominique says, Girl Scouts 5 was my pick of the week. It was my number 2. It was very freaking close. Like, I loved the hell out of Girl Scouts. There's some Girl Scouts magic going on, by the way, for show and tell later on tonight. Big Jim Mahfood fan. I'm going to show you a relic from 2002 when I met Jim Mahfood in Chicago. I would love to have him on the channel. I got to try to see if I can reach out to him sometime. I'm a big fan of his work. I've recently kind of dived back into his work with the, new Girl Scout series, which was rather confusing to me at first. And I also, when he started changing his style back in, I guess, what was first, Miami Vice Remix or Girl Scouts Magic Socks. One of those is when I first noticed the style change. But I love it. Really, really has grown on me. B. Gonzalez, what's up? Ghost Cage sounds badass. Wanted to wait and pick it up when finished, but maybe I'll pick it up. Architectural foam panels and columns station. Sounds cool. I really liked it. I thought it was cool. Marco says, X-Men haven't been great, but 8 and 9 were good issues. Batman has been solid. Hour of the Dragon was my number 1 pick of the week. Amazing art. Trenton says, my comic shop didn't order any extra Ghost Cage for the shelf. I missed out on that one, but my pick of the week is probably, Department of Truth. That sucks they didn't order Ghost Cage. Ghost Cage was returnable, so there's no excuse for a shop not to have enough of those. That sucks. Should be plentiful available, though, online. Reach out to Deep Comics and Games on Facebook if you haven't. They have them. Taki says, duh, station, that interior art on Girl Scouts, 100% fire. Yes, 100% correct. 62 Lefty Blue says, Ghost Cage has a real manga feel to it. Absolutely. Scarpad, what is up, my man? Probably not liking Picard. Silver Coin number 10 was good, says Scarpad. Hell yeah. That was a good issue. I liked it. Eddie says, I'm going to grab the trade of Ghost Cage. Trade Paper Dad says, haven't read Ghost Cage yet because my books take a week to arrive. Cards Fan says, Robbie, that Ghost Cage looks good. I'll pick it up. Oh, that looks good. Gato Tomo's sense of scale. Exactly. It's not just the use of the screen tones. It's that use of that scale as well. But at the same time, it's the line work from east to west. So it's really cool. I liked it a lot. Moni says, Venom Lethal Protector number 1. I really enjoy Marvel's retro series. Cards Fan says, only read one current comic, Black Cat and Mary Jane. It was cool. Black Cat on the Campbell cover was sexy, as usual. Trade Paper Dad says, luckily, I ordered all 3 of Ghost Cage. I love Draguda artwork. Really liked East to West. Yeah, I love East to West. Got those 3 hardcovers on that one. Hey, Big Herm's in the house. Driving but listening. Station. Be careful out there on the road. Architectural Foam and Panel says, I didn't pick up anything this week. Still waiting on Catwoman Lonely City. Philip says, man, I got mad Fooly Cooley vibes from Ghost Cage. I really love the manga feel to this book. Philadelphia was my pick of the week, though. I dropped off of Philadelphia, and I definitely regret that. I want to get back into it because I really like Alexander's artwork. It is Alexander, right? And here Barnes is doing a really good job, not only with that book, but with his show Winning Time, the Lakers series. I really need to jump into that. I have watched Picard Season 2, the first 3 episodes. I'm digging it. It's fine. I haven't watched the newest one yet. I'm intrigued to see what's going on, but whenever Star Trek does time travel, I'm cool with it because it's part of it. But I don't like when they time travel to current day. That's when I don't like it. It gets a little fuzzy for me then. That's something I'm not quite digging about this one. Rockin Robbie has Girl Scout cookies. Yeah. I was like, there's some Girl Scout goodness for show and tell. It's just Girl Scout cookies. No, it's not. It's not. I'll be honest with you. I don't buy Girl Scout cookies anymore. I buy the fucking generic versions that are available for like a third of the fucking price year round on my Kroger shelf at the grocery store. Nothing against the Girl Scouts though. I didn't buy any this year. There you go. I'll just say that. 62 Lefty Blue says Demon Days is finally wrapped up. Yeah, but they're expanding it, right? It's coming back. You love Mafu's Generation X one shot. Yeah, I remember that from back in the day. I repicked it up a few weeks ago, so I plan on diving back into that sometime soon. Thanks for the Ghost Cage review. Gonna check it out just for the Otomo art style. Hell yeah. Wu-Tang says, my pick of the week is Maestro. Such fire book on such butthole paper. Yeah, you were right about that. That was really good. That was an insult to Herman Peralta's artwork. Printing it on paper like that. Oversaturating the paper with ink and that shitty paper and just muddying up everything. Different X Minds, I was very satisfied with the ending of East of West. And when I went back and reread the whole series as a whole, just like over a weekend, it rang even more solid and true for me as an ending. Ghost Cage, Patch, and Venom Lethal Protector were my favorite of the week, says Glenn. Reverse Amoeba says, we have Demons was awesome. Saga, Monstrous, and Ghost Cage were great too. Shang-Chi was the pick of the week, says Taki. Trent says, I have the East to West Year 1 hardcover, still hunting down 2 and 3. I think 3 got expensive for a while, but I think they put it back in print. I'm not sure. Mark McGrath, still not sure if it's the Mark McGrath from Sugar Ray, says Maestro, World War M #2. AC says, the actor playing Magic Johnson looks like Chris Webber. Talking about Winning Time, I'm assuming. Mike says, Season 2 of Picard is better than Season 1, but that's not saying much because I mostly hated Season 1. Scarpat says, they do time travel to the current day to save money. Star Trek 4 did that. Of course, they did it with a clever, well-written script. There's the difference. I did not know that Pusha T helped write that. Did he really? Dun, 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 dun. I didn't know that. What's up, Michael? How are you doing? We're doing well here in Rockin Robbie Land. Peace out, Architectural Foam, Panels, and Columns. By the way, I did read Crashpad, loved it. I think you were the one that mentioned that to me several weeks ago. So I did order it from my shop, picked it up, read it, dug it. Hippie, psychedelic, cool stuff. So Ghost Cage was my pick of the week. Mark says, also loving The Lion and the Eagle from Aftershock. Garth Ennis knows how to write a war book. Yes, he does. I didn't read book 2 because that one just, that's something I'm going to definitely have to trade weight. Jeff's in the house. Hello, Robbie and Army. One Love and Station from Chicago. Station. Zeke Rod's in the house. How you doing? Hell yeah. Yeah, so back on that topic about the paper quality at Marvel, I just kind of want to I've said it plenty because Big Herm had a show on Wednesday night. I talked about it there. I talked about it on the Instagram stream I did on Wednesday night. I talked about it on Friday with Rex from Dynamite. And it's just really shitty. Marvel intentionally picked some of their lower selling books, printed them for a short, they started printing them on shittier paper. I know some people said that the paper quality was the same. They just changed the cover. No, they changed the cover stock to the interior stock. They did that like 2 or 3 years ago. This was worse paper stock, and it was also the card stock, the cover stock, right? So this was intentional by them. They were like wanting to see what they could get away with it. Retailers did really fire out. There's been a lot of talk online. The problem is this. That's the line that we have now drawn in the sand. They realize that at least for a space of time, that's as far as they can go and still keep us buying their comics. They know that they can just, okay, so this right here, what we just did this week, and there are a few more coming, and they vowed not to use that paper again. But they have said, we're not going to use that paper again. They're not going to reprint those books. Okay? So there will be trades, but they're not going to reprint the shitty-ass copies of these books that are coming out. Whatever. That would cost them money, I get it. But they did this to learn. This is my thoughts on it. They did this to learn what is the limit right now. That's the fucking breaking point. So now they're going to step that back and be able to continuously deliver us shitty paper quality at excessive prices. DC, on the other hand, you may pay more for a DC book in general, but you're going to get better paper quality. I was noticing that when I was reading my DC books this afternoon for the upcoming DC sneak peek tonight. I was astounded at the difference because I was trying to pay attention to the tactile experience. This is already something I knew, but so many of us get caught up in the price on comics that we're not actually paying attention to the quality. And I'm not talking necessarily about the quality of the stories or the artwork, which those are two things we need to be paying attention to, but it's also the paper quality, the quality of the actual artifact itself. Those are the three tiers. It's got to have a good, compelling story with great characters. It's got to have a story that works for us. It's got to have artwork that's good. You got to have good artwork. I'm sorry. I used to be that dude that could follow my writers through bad artwork. I can still do that in certain moments, but like that's a rarity nowadays. I got to have a good, compelling story, and I need artwork. I need really good, solid fucking artwork and good storytelling or something flashy or something cool, something badass. And I need a good quality product as far as the tactile experience, having good cover stock, having good pages, having the colors actually work on the printed page. There's no excuse anymore for Marvel and DC and the bigger publishers. Why are smaller publishers printing better quality stock and stories than Marvel? It makes no sense. They have their fucking resources. But anyway, I digress. You got to have all three of those things to be an exceptional comic book for me. And right now, Marvel ain't hitting it. Because on the best Marvel books right now, they're only giving me 2 out of 3. And that's on the best fucking Marvel books. They're only giving me 2 out of 3. Do you really need Hellfire Gala on nice paper? No, I'm probably not even going to read Hellfire Gala. I'm so far out of X-Men. But the problem is with us, and this is our fault, we should have caused this roar as retailers and fans that we did over this last week. We should have done this 2-3 years ago when it started dropping. We really should have. And we did, but not enough, I guess. William, why does CGC charge for a percentage for key books when CBCS does not? Because more people use CGC so they can, and they get away with it. Bro, that paper quality, Marvel has really steamed some tissue paper smooth and sold us books printed on it. Robbie, show your Marvel next to the Image flippity-floppity comparison to the army that hasn't seen it yet. I can't because I didn't buy a single one of those shitty-ass comics. I didn't buy a single fucking one of them. Fuck them. I'm serious. I don't think I was planning on it, actually, to be honest. I read the Maestro, and I really like it. And Savage Spider-Man's interesting enough for now. But Maestro's something I'll probably trade wait for and just buy it all, or if they do a complete collection. But actually, also, Maestro is something that's really good, but I don't know if I'd ever try to read it again, except for maybe one more time. I don't know. I didn't read any of them, so I can't do it. I didn't buy any of them. Hey, Mark's in the house. Mark from Geeks Unleashed. Still got to send you and Jasmine the, don't think I've forgotten that I'm going to send y'all the Action Fest list. Jeff says, half of my Ross Timeless variants look transparent. Beautiful artwork ruined by toilet paper quality. Embarrassing. Weak sauce. Absolutely. Taki says, I think we will collect it despite the paper quality. Until that stops, Marvel will continue. Absolutely. The process is called self-covering when they use the same paper on the interior as the exterior. Thank you, Joram. I'll try to remember that. That's an easier way to say that. Thank you. Self-covering. That sounds weird, though. It's not like self-covering is what I do when, like, you know, like your mom would walk in and you're, like, beating your meat or something. Why buy Marvel floppies on crap paper when the trade paperbacks are cheaper and better paper? Yeah, well, they're, yeah, you know. The quality I hear on the collected editions is going down, too. But not as bad as these. And I 100% agree with that. Plus digital. Those books look fine on a screen. The problem is a lot of Marvel books in particular look better on screens, and that's not the way it should be. You still got to fucking understand. I don't know if anybody at Marvel right now knows how to fucking print a comic. I hate to be so negative about it, but sometimes I really feel like Marvel is just like half-staffed, and half of those staffs are fucking just idiots, man. Disney is cutting budgets and corners to make the moolah. Flip the page, F around, get the ink poison. I like what Rex was saying on the show Friday, where he was like, there's some accountant somewhere that said, hey, if we switch to this, we're going to save this much money over this quarter. And yeah, those people, they don't give a shit, right? Most anticipated comic in 2022 is Jeff Darrow coming back for Shaolin Cowboy and Warren Daniel Johnson on Powerbomb. Daniel Warren Johnson, hell yeah. Those are definitely books to look forward to. Hell yeah. We're going to have a good summer. Tyler says, art and color are the first things I look for now in new books. John says, I heard the books next month just use old toilet paper, from which complaints might be a step up. Cards fan says, Robbie, of the 23 titles I've ordered for next month, only 3 are Marvel. I used to be exclusively Marvel, but they pushed me off to indies. I want to repeat this comment again in case anybody at Marvel is listening. Robbie, of the 23 titles I've ordered for next month, only 3 are Marvel. I used to be exclusively Marvel, but they've pushed me off to the indies. Glenn says, I love the Daredevil Chip and Chichetto run and all of the Strange Academy. Me too. Those books aren't printed on this level quality, but their paper quality is still not good either. In fact, the best way to read a physical copy of Strange Academy right now is in a digest format, which constantly goes in and out of print. No, Joseph, Marvel, okay, you're right. The paper quality is the third thing that I was talking about. Strange Academy has given me an awesome story and awesome artwork. That includes the coloring for me. But like, it's the paper quality is that's the thing. That's the third thing missing. So even the best Marvel books, which to me are Strange Academy, Moon Knight, Thor, and I'm really coming around on Hulk, y'all. I'm really coming around on Hulk. Let's go back to newsprint in 4 colors. I don't know about that, but I don't know about that. Because I don't know if anybody knows how to fucking print on that anymore. If they can't print on today's paper, if they can't do it with digital shit. But there is something nice about that feel of the old school. Jeff says, I just dipped my toe back into the foreign comic book ocean. My Turkish copies of Stray Dogs and Monstrous are the best I've ever seen. Amazing. Jealous. Hell yeah. Robbie, any horror movie reviews for April? Plenty for Dylan's Horror Show. He's got a great April lined up. For PCP, after tomorrow night, we're actually taking 2 weeks off, and we're coming back, and then I don't think we actually have a horror movie. Well, we do. We have one horror movie that will be the week of my birthday. It's a slasher film. But basically what's happening is after tomorrow night's April Fool's Day review, we're taking 2 weeks off. We're coming back, and we're doing 2 movies that I'm really pumped to do. And they're comic book adaptations. But they're not what people typically think of. They're not your most commonly thought of comic book movies. Okay? So we're doing underappreciated comic book movies in April for 2 weeks. And then we're doing Crew's Choice. And that goes and takes us into Action Fest. Action Fest leads to Horror Fest. And so I don't think we really dive into horror again until Horror Fest, because we kind of save it up. But Dylan's Horror Show, it's Horror Fest every week. Plus, we do have one the week of my birthday in May. We are doing a horror film. We're doing a movie called Happy Birthday to Me, which I love, so we're doing that one. But no horror movies for PCP movie night in April, but there will be 4 done on Dylan's Horror Show. Lemire and Sorrentino are also coming back with the Boneyard Orchard Mythos. That's right. Andrea just reached out to me over the weekend and sent me a PDF of the first graphic novel. What's it called? Can't remember what it's called, but I have been sent that first graphic novel to read and do with as I please, so I am probably going to do an advance review. I wish Marvel had more books like DC Black Label. And it's a shame. Marvel was first trying to, out of the big 2, Marvel's first trying to really cement that graphic novel format. But the DC Black Label, like Prestige Plus books, are really solid. We got one this week to talk about. Taki says, I am pulling 4 Marvel titles. What are they? Daredevil, Strange Academy. What else? For me, the only Marvel... See, I'm pulling Fantastic Four always. And I'm not even pulling Moon Knight. I decided I'd just wait. They're the inevitable deluxe edition hardcover. You know, if it sticks the landing, it's something I definitely want to get that in a deluxe format because I love it. But right now I'm just pulling Fantastic Four, Ben Reilly Spider-Man. I think I have to stop. I actually think I dropped that this week. Venom Lethal Protector. I got Carnage, Venom. I'm sure there are others that I'm forgetting. Dedora73 says, Robbie, the Huntsville Pop Culture Expo is coming. Hope to meet you, man. Yeah, we'll be there. We should have a panel, and we will have a booth there as well. Alterna does print all their comics on newsprint, but they don't color for newsprint. That's something that's always bothered me about it. Do you know what happened to James Herron's Ultra Mega? Do you know about the new book Frank Quitely is doing? No and no. But I guess Ultra Mega is probably just on a hiatus. People skip books like The Return of the Mighty Valkyries, Beta Ray Bill, and Black Widow, then complain that Marvel doesn't push dope art. I think they have some good artists working for them. I think they have some great artists. I think they have some of the best mainstream artists out there on the market right now. But you don't really push good art on poor printing. I'll tell you that. But Marvel's got some great artwork. You know, I was complaining about the paper quality in particular this week over how it was kind of an insult to some of the great art. Like Herman Peralta's artwork on Maestro is amazing. That was awesome. Nick Bradshaw's cover on Savage Spider-Man is great. And you're right, Marvel's got some really solid artists. I have not checked out the Halo series. I've never really been big into Halo, so I didn't really have a plan on it. Beta Ray Bill, by the way, is fucking awesome. Looks awesome. AC says, I'm looking forward to Hulk Grand Designs, but I want to see if they print it on the cheap paper. I don't think they will. They listed the books that were going to be next week. It was Miles Morales and something else. There was only like 2 or 3 that were going to be on that stock. That is not going to be one of them. I'm assuming it will probably be, hopefully, as good as Ed's X-Men Grand Design and Tom's Fantastic Four. The book you want is the Omnibus for Strange Academy, coming in June, as it showcases Humberto's line art. Yes, line art. He inked and did Ronald on every page. So go to Amazon and pre-order it. Yes, that would be an Omnibus to get, 100%. Plus, did you know they just announced a Todd McFarlane Spider-Man Artist Edition at IDW? I don't have a single Artist Edition. I've been really contemplating the damn Daniel Clowes one, but I know I'm going to get this Todd McFarlane Spider-Man one. I think it is called The Passageway. Is it true that IDW is looking to sell the Ninja Turtles? Don't know anything about that. I don't think they own the Ninja Turtles. I think they have a deal with Nickelodeon and Kevin Eastman. I think it's Nickelodeon and Kevin Eastman that own the rights. I think. Or have they both completely sold out? I don't know. But IDW just licenses that, I'm sure. But IDW's not in a good spot right now. Let's just say that. Yeah, Hulk Grand Design is on my pull. In fact, I'm pulling at least 2 covers for the first issue. Jim's cover and Ed's cover. And for the second issue, I'm getting Jeff's cover and Jim's cover. All right, speaking of what's coming up in shops this week, let's go ahead and take a look. Because Hulk Grand Design is one of them, and I'm very damned excited. So coming up in shops this week, we got Amazing Spider-Man 93, Hulk number 5, Dark Ages number 6, Miles Morales Spider-Man 36, Something is Killing the Children returns with issue 21. We got Spawn 328, DC vs. Vampires number 6, Immortal X-Men number 1. That's the Kieran Gillen one. So I feel like that's the direction now. We'll see how that one works out. Batman 1 Dark Knight number 2, Ghost Rider number 2, Swamp Thing returns by Rom V, Mike Perkins, Mike Spicer, Aditya Bidikar, Swamp Thing number 11. Captain Marvel 37, Batman Beyond the White Knight number 1, Radiant Black 13, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 127. There is a Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo exclusive for that with by Kevin Eastman of the Turtles at the Saturn V, because we have the Saturn V here, and Kevin Eastman is our guest of honor at the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo in April. Then we also got TMNT Annual 2022, Star Wars Bounty Hunter 21, Silk number 3, Shadow War Alpha number 1, Silver Surfer Rebirth number 3, that's the one I pull, Spider-Woman 21, Iron Fist number 2, Righteous Thirst for Vengeance number 6, New Burn number 5, I've read that one, it's fucking awesome, War for Earth 3 number 2, Hulk Grand Design Monster number 1, Rogue Sun number 2, Excellent number 2, so Mike Allred Goodness, X-Men Unlimited Latitude number 1, Aquaman number 2, Step by Bloody Step number 2, Magic Order Volume 2 number 6, Animal Castle number 4, Sensational Wonder Woman Special number 1, Hellboy The Silver Lantern Club number 5, We Don't Kill Spiders number 4, Astro City That Was Then, a one-shot special, Vampirella Dracula Unholy number 4, Almost American number 5, Batman Phase Clan number 1. I don't know what the hell that is. My shop only got 1 copy. I think it's just some random thing. I have no idea what the hell that is. Heathens number 5, Grim Fairy Tales 58, Heavy Metal 315, Transformers War's End number 2, Cities of Magic number 1 from Scout, Harbinger number 6, G.I. Joe Real American Hero Saturday Morning Adventures number 2, Usagi Yojimbo Lone Goat and Kid number 3, Buffy the Vampire Slayer 25th Anniversary Special, Panther number 2, Zombies vs. Robots Classic number 1. It's a reprint of the original issues. My Date with Monsters number 5, Lady Death, Cataclysmic Majesty number 2, The Killer, Affairs of the State number 2, Apex Legends Overtime number 4, Edgar Allan Poe's Snifter of Death number 6, Knights of the Dinner Table 294, Myth and Legends Quarterly number 7, Happy Hill number 2, The Last Session number 4, Broken Souls Ballad Hell is for Kids number 1, Carriers number 4, Beyond the Farthest Star number 3, Season of the Bruja number 1, Darkstalkers Morrigan number 1, One Night in Prague number 1, Strange Attractors number 12, and The Rabbit Who Fights number 6. So that's what's coming up in shops. What are you looking forward to? Let us know what you think. We'll be right back here on Rockin Robbie Live. When we come back to DC Sneak Peek, we're going to be talking about the new movie X from A24 and Marvel in the 80s. All that and more here on Rockin Robbie Live.
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, doing no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad,
yeah.
Baby, I'm bad.
I just wanna stay bad, stay mad. Chip on my shoulder cause they treat me like an outcast. I ain't gonna take that, stay back. I'll be swinging hard till the hits come in all caps. I ain't gonna lay back, pray that someone's gonna help me. Ain't nobody like that. I ain't gonna wait, that's all fact. Give me one shot and I'll never get the throne back. I'm sick of being cautious. I'ma go cause some pain, can't stop this. I'ma steal everybody's lane, call it shoplift. Sick of hearing everyone complain when they thoughtless. Taste the pain, it's like candy canes. It makes me go change into a better frame, into a better name. Society's insane, we all live for fame, yeah. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, do it no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad. I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, do it no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad. I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, I'll live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, do it no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad.
Welcome back here to Pop Culture Philosophers. In fact, welcome back to Rockin Robbie Live. We've already been talking about our favorite comic books of last week. We looked ahead at what was coming up in shops this week. An excellent week. The book I'm most looking forward to, Hulk, Grand Design, #1 from Mr. Jim Rugg. We had some great people in the chat hollering out what they were looking forward to. Taki says, Radiant Black is what I am looking forward to. Two Gun Pedro says, bring back the Hellboy song. Where did it ever leave? Where were you last week? Someone throw out a super chat. You never know what's going to happen. Evil Face Bad says, Robbie, I picked Step by Bloody Step. Wow, the art of storytelling is prime time in this book. I am at a loss for words. And so was the book. No reading at all. Full story art. Yeah, the second issue is the same way. Still a fantastic issue. I read it already. Wu-Tang says, can't wait for Hulk 5. Immortal Hulk was like a stressful interview for your dream job. Kate's Hulk is like buying drinks for your buddies with the first paycheck after landing it. That's actually a really, really good way to put it. Ariaga says, Dark Age's conclusion could be good too. Yeah, something like that, Zeke. William says, Robbie, have you heard that the actor who plays Shang-Chi is not signing any Shang-Chi comics? He's not signing any of the Master of Kung Fu comics from the 70s because he has deemed them offensive. But he will sign the new stuff by Gene Luen Yang, I believe. We got Manny in the house. Tomorrow Cinema. Hell yeah. Find podcasts more, everybody, by the way, at popculturephilosophers.com. The newest episode of the podcast, all about James Bond. 25 James Bond movies. We talk about them. Our favorite Bond girls, our favorite Bond villains, our favorite music in Bond films, our favorite Bonds, and our top 5 favorite James Bond movies. That edited podcast will be available tomorrow on popculturephilosophers.com, on iTunes and other podcast services, available for you to download for free. So be sure to check that out. Also, follow Pop Culture Philosophers on Facebook and on Instagram. If you're on Facebook, you might as well make it official and join the PCP Army, the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. You can also support the channel over at patreon.com/PCP. Like these fine PCP patrons right there, get access to the downloadable audio file of the weekly comic book review hours before it drops on YouTube, but not this week, because this week I'm doing the weekly comic book review live because 311 is in my town. And as soon as I'm done reading the books, I'm going live and I'm going to talk about them and deliver the weekly comic book review in a live format. You can also support the channel with Super Chat, which triggers something. You never know. Could be a Hellboy song. Could not be. You never know what you're going to get in this new day and age. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at @TheRockinRobbie if you feel so inclined to do so. And join us tomorrow night for PCP Movie Night. March Madness continues, should be ending, with April Fool's Day tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central Time over at PCP. Then we got the monthly review. That's right, the best comics of the month, a live stream on Thursday, 7 p.m. Central Time. It'll be me, Manny from Tomorrow Cinema, Brando from Comics Kings, Verno from the Cerebros, Nick from Comic Culture, and Greg from Bearded Comic Bro. And then March Madness officially ends in April with Midsummer on Dylan Soar's show because he had to delay the show. And that's what happened. And there you go. We now pause for station identification. And we're back. Taki with the super chat says, we need a new anthem. Hellboy was 2021. Well, thank you so much for the super chat. We really do appreciate it. Yeah. Well, I'm creeping and I'm creeping and I'm creeping. But I didn't get cap, cause my beeper kept beeping. Now it's time for me to make my impression felt. So sit back, relax, and strap on your seatbelt. You never been on a ride like this before. With a producer who can rap and control the maestro. At the same time, with the dope rhyme that I kick, you know and I know I pull some more gangster shit. Add to my collection, the selection symbolizes dope. Take a toke, but don't choke. If you do, you have no clue of what me and my homie Snoop Dogg came to do. It's like that and like this and like that, and it's like this and like that and like this, and it's like that and like this and like that, and Yo, yo, yo. Thank you so much for the super chat, Taki. We really do appreciate it. Evil Face Bat says, can we get a movie review on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles' first live-action movie from 1990, please? All I can say about that right now is stay tuned. I have the entire year planned out for PCP movie nights, and on that one, all I can say is stay tuned. So yes, so just stay tuned. Stay tuned. Mark McGrath is excited for Ghost Rider number 2, Silver Surfer Rebirth number 3, and the return of Ron V, Swamp Thing number 11. Excuse me. I've read that one. We'll talk about that here in just a second. Will says Animal Castle is GOAT. Looking forward to 4. Brandon from Comics King on PCP, he's a dream. He's something. We'll just say that. Charmin is here. What's up? Now that y'all are printing on me, I can hang in this chat, right? Hell yeah, Charmin. You're always welcome because I love the boldness of the commercials with the bears that are obsessed with talking about shitting with each other. Oh, man. That's fast, Manny, by the way. That's good. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. I personally thought that Maestro quality was the shit, yo. That's funny as shit. That's funny as shit. All right. DC's got comics out this week. I've read them. We're going to talk about them. It's time for your DC Comics sneak peek. First up, we're going DC versus Vampires. It was a light DC week for me, so once again, a book that I decided that I was done with. I decided I guess I wasn't, and I picked up DC versus Vampires to read issue number 6 because I think saw somebody, I think it was Rosenberg, online talking about this was going to be the reveal of who the Vampire Master is, and it is. And I thought it was pretty dumb, to be honest with you. So I did not like this book. I didn't like the book. Then we got War for Earth 3, issue number 2. I picked up the Flash tie-in. I didn't read the Suicide Squad or the Teen Titans Academy. Felt like I wouldn't miss anything. I really didn't. This one encapsulated what the point of the story was. It's basically Amanda Waller going into Earth 3, trying to take it over for some reason. So you got 2 versions of the Suicide Squad involved, and you've got the Crime Syndicate. And what was a decent, promising start kind of just fell apart here at the end. It was just all over the place. It just didn't really work, didn't click, and it didn't really set up anything super exciting. It feels like it was supposed to. It felt like it wanted to be epic in scope, but it didn't really do much for me. So War for Earth 3, number 2, was kind of flat. Aquaman, number 2. This was a decently crafted comic book as far as pacing goes, as far as the artwork goes. It was really cool, but to be honest, I'm reading this book and I'm finding it difficult to remember what's going on in Aquaman, even here at issue number 2. So that was a little bit of a problem for me, but I did make it through it. And there are moments in here that I think work and then other moments that really don't. So overall, I don't think the book works, but it's kind of like middle of the road. It's not the worst attempt at an Aquaman book, but it's not necessarily working for me right now, but it is working better than no Aquaman book, I guess. So there's that. Then we got Batman One Dark Knight, issue number 2. I liked it. I thought it was decent. It didn't really quite fully carry momentum over from issue number 1. Like, it starts off pretty solid and it's fine. It's Batman, and he's got this dude named EMP who sucks energy away, and all of Gotham is blacked out, and they're trying to take this dude from Arkham to Blackgate. And so Batman has to now physically take this dude by himself, carry him across Gotham, and all these gangs are after him. And it does a decent job of kind of showing the crazy situation that is, and Jock's artwork's pretty cool throughout most of it, but story-wise, it just kind of, it goes into some weird areas and threads with like trying to build a larger threat that's involved. And really, honestly, all you need is just Batman carrying this dude across Gotham being attacked by random gangs. That's really all you need. You don't need anything extra. So that kind of bothered me. But aside from that, I liked the artwork and I'm still digging the premise enough. Then we got Shadow War Alpha #1. This is from Joshua Williamson. Victor Bogdanovic on the artwork. I loved this. So this is the start of a big crossover between Batman, Robin, and Deathstroke Incorporated. All of the Joshua Williamson books, right? And I really liked this. First of all, I really liked Victor Bogdanovic's artwork. I thought it was great. And I liked the story. Ra's al Ghul's got a plan now maybe to go straight and Deathstroke gets in the middle, or does he? But it is a big confrontation between Deathstroke, Ra's al Ghul, the whole Al Ghul family, including Damian, and Batman. And you get the reunion of Batman and Damian, and there's some really nice, big, emotional, impactful moments here. So I really liked the story. I liked the way it was set up. It does things that we've kind of seen before, but it does it in a fresh enough way where it feels like it has weight and stakes. And so I really absolutely love this. I wasn't necessarily 100% sold on Joshua Williamson's Batman run, but I loved his Robin and loving his Robin and Deathstroke Incorporated. So I'm cool with the crossover. And I really, really liked that story. If you've been reading Robin, definitely a lot of stuff is exploding into that. Then we got Batman Beyond the White Knight #1, because for some reason my shop was shorted all of our cover A's. So I had to pick up a cover B to read, but this was as awesome as I wanted it to be. Sean Gordon Murphy and Dave Stewart coming back to this book. Sean Murphy is a brilliant artist, but he's really crafting a great story. He's continuing to give me the best interpretation of Harley Quinn I've ever seen. And now he's giving us a really intriguing interpretation of Batman Beyond. So this is part of the White Knight universe. It's like 10 years later, Bruce has been in prison, and Gotham has kind of changed overnight. And it's gotten or not overnight, but within 10 years. And it's very futuristic now. And somebody has stolen technology, some kid named Terry. It's Batman Beyond, but it's done in a different way that is tied in to the White Knight world and lore already and continues to move that narrative along. Great artwork, great solid book. And not only has Sean Murphy given me my favorite version of Harley Quinn, which was typically a character I don't like, but he's also doing a really good job with Jason Todd and kind of flips the script a little bit on the history there. But I really like this. Batman Beyond fans, Sean Murphy fans, White Knight fans, you're going to want that. But the best DC book I read this week was The Swamp Thing, issue #11 from Ron V, Mike Spicer, Mike Perkins, and Aditya Bidikar. It's the return of Swamp Thing by Ron V. So we had a crazy ending at issue #10. After a little bit of hiatus, we're right back at it. And now we got Abigail Brand reintroduced into the whole thing. Is that supposed to be Abigail? That is Abigail, right? I'm pretty sure it's Abigail. No, I don't know. Is it the daughter? Anyway, there's that character. I think that might be the daughter. Not Abigail. I think it might be the daughter. Anyway, that being said, artwork is even better. Story is even better. Lettering's even better. Inking's even... Like, everything is better here in issue #11 than it ever has been. Picking up on where it left off, but doing it in a way that's still new reader friendly, single issue friendly, and rooted in the horror... I'm trying to find another word for roots because I already said rooted. Rooted in the horror history of the Swamp Thing. Loved this book. Thought it was absolutely freaking amazing. I think that's his daughter. I think that's the Brian K. Vaughan one. Dude, the artwork, the coloring. Oh, this is the best issue of this yet. It might be the best issue of Ron V Swamp Thing yet. It's awesome. So there you go. So recapping real quick. DC versus Vampires. Man. War for Earth 3 fell very, very flat. Aquaman #2, something's missing there. Batman 1 Dark Knight, #2, but loses a bit of momentum. Shadow War Alpha, very impressed with this one. I liked that a lot. Batman Beyond the White Knight, awesome. But The Swamp Thing #11, horrific, nuanced, and stretching further than most superhero comics do. by Rom V. Anyway, Abigail Brand is Marvel. I'm thinking of Abby. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You'll read it. You'll figure it out. Anyway, that was your DC sneak peek. Yeah, it's not Abigail Brand. Why did I say that? You're right. Thank you. But don't they have a daughter that Brian K. Vaughan did a run on? I vaguely remember that. But y'all know, Abby. I think it's Abby and Alec's daughter, I think. I don't fucking know. What do I know? I don't know what's canon anymore. It's the Omniverse. Wu-Tang says, wish I could take a pill that made me appreciate DC books. Well, there you go. Brandon's in the house from Comics Kings. What's up? Well, damn, Andy, we're glad that you're back now. What is up, officially unofficial geek? It's OUG. What is up? Just finished up the DC sneak peek. Swamp Thing is back in full force this week. Albert says, Sean Murphy does a podcast with a guy that is equally as good of an artist, but with a fraction of the notoriety of Murphy himself. His name is Clay McCormack. Yeah, I've never heard that. I have to check it out. Vaz Vegas is in the house. What's up? Taki says, going to try to make room for Swamp Thing and White Knight. 3 really impressive books from DC this week. Shadow War, Swamp Thing, and White Knight, Beyond the White Knight. Very impressive issues. Andy says, my mom says I need to be nice to Brandon. Yeah, that's probably for the best. OUG is so excited for White Knight. Yeah. Abigail Arcane. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. What's the daughter's name? I guess I could look it up. Yep. It's the daughter. My bad. It is the daughter, Tiffy, or whatever. Yep, that's her. Now the correct character has been recognized. Oh, Mark's right there with it. Tiffy, yeah. Thank you. Whatever happened to the goddamned? I don't know. I guess it's on a hiatus. I like, the thing with Image books is they put them out whenever they want to sometimes. So they go on these long hiatuses that ultimately hurt the sales of the books single issue wise. Unless you're Saga. Jay Rodriguez, J-Rod's in the house. Beyond White Knight is on my list for sure. Hell yeah. Remember God is Dead on Avatar? I do remember that. The Jonathan Hickman book. Yeah. I fell for the first issue. That was all I fell for. I didn't like it. It's one of those. Avatar used to do that thing where they would take concepts from writers and let other people develop them. Image needs more hardcovers. I agree. Twitch says, I read Batman, Action Comics, Superman, Son of Kal-El, Swamp Thing, Nightwing, and Nice House on the Lake from DC. Everything else makes me feel like I need 20 years of comic knowledge to actually get. Okay. OUG is cautiously anticipating Shadow War. I'll tell you, Shadow War Alpha #1 I really liked. If you're liking what Williamson's doing on Robin and Deathstroke, I think you'll like the book. Taki says, DC lost me on Death Metal. All right. Whatever happened to Briggs Land? They said they were going to make a TV show out of it. Then it never happened. It just stopped. That happens a lot. Like there will be, properties, comic book properties that get picked up by like production studios for TV series or something, and they get stuck in limbo all the time. Descenders like that, Astro Cities like that. Brando says, Shadow War is wired to me. You mean weird? You mean weird? Mike says, I love The Goddamned. Got Jason Aaron to sign the hardcover in the first issue of the original mini. Hell yeah. I like the book too. Jordan says, okay, I'll say it. Something is killing the children. Cannot wait. I know there's a big announcement this week. There are going to be 3 new characters, 3 first appearances. Who gives a shit, man? Just keep telling us a good story because you've already done that. Yeah, they did that with East to West. Amazon optioned it, decided not to run with it. That stuff happens all the time. Did you like I Hate Fairyland? I didn't read every issue, but I did follow it for probably like 8 to 9 issues. So I liked it, but I eventually fell off of it. All right. Being optioned is good and bad to creators. You get that payoff for the option, but then wait for the option to run out or get made. Yeah, pretty much. And sometimes just getting the option, though, gives you a good paycheck. Are you going to check out Ghost Rider number 2? Yes, I'm going to check out Ghost Rider number 2. I didn't necessarily like issue number 1, but I'll definitely see what they do in issue number 2. Review Afflicted on Dylan's Horror Show. Not familiar with that movie. You got to throw that over to him as a suggestion. All right. Speaking of horror films, though, I watched one this week. It came out last week. I wanted to watch it. I waited till this week. Me and my lady went and saw it. Yo, I cannot wait to talk about this movie. So far, there's been some movies this year, and when you got to think, what's the best movie I've seen so far this year? I finally have a new one because it was Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I don't think is a good movie, but I do like it. But I finally watched a movie that I absolutely loved this year, and I want to talk about it. So in a non-spoilery way, we're about to talk about X from A24. X is a slasher film written, directed, produced, and edited by Ty West. Now, Ty West had done other movies like The House of the Devil, The Roost, The Innkeepers, The Sacrament. I've never seen any of these movies, so this is the first time that I'm watching anything from him. And I loved this movie 100%. It's a nice throwback to like 70s, early 80s era slasher vibes, but with a serious approach taken to it, even with some of the ridiculous aspects of the story. So what it is it's about a group of people that are going to this place to film a pornography. So they're filming a porn video, and the director, the guy who's filming it, is trying to make a good, artsy porn film. Meanwhile, the producer just doesn't care. He's just trying to make some money, trying to get in on what he thinks is going to be a big home video market for pornography, and it turns out that he's right. But they rent this I guess like guest house or something from this old guy outside of Houston, Texas, and he's creepy and he's weird, and we'll get more into him, but he basically tells them that his wife is here, she's old, and you got to respect her and don't cause too much commotion. Now, of course, they don't know that they're there to film a pornographic film. And let's just say the woman gets involved in with the cast in weird ways that really develop this movie into unexpected territories, but it's great. So first of all, let's talk about Mia Goth. She's the main character here. She does a really great job. She's a scene stealer. She is so solid in this movie. You get the idea that she's an exotic dancer. She's doing this porn. The producer of this movie is her boyfriend. But they represent this in a very positive light. She owns what she does. She wants to be a star. That's what she does, and that's what they do. And apparently she's really good at it. And let me just tell you, she is. But then we've got Brittany Snow and Kid Cudi. Okay. Brittany Snow and Kid Cudi are in this movie as porn stars. Kid Cudi is awesome. He plays a really great character, a former Marine, current porn star, and really funny in some of his bits and very authentic. Everybody's authentic in this movie. Brittany Snow, she can get it, yo. She's smoking. She's got it. This is really good stuff going on there. But she really also sinks her teeth into this character. And everybody in this movie does a fantastic job of playing these characters in a very realistic, a very honorable, and a very appealing light, right? They just did a fantastic job. The dude who's the producer of the movie, he's like Matthew McConaughey light. He sounds just like Matthew McConaughey, but he's not Matthew McConaughey. And then you got the director of the film who wants to make an artsy film, and his girlfriend, who is the younger sister from the new Scream movie. And there's a weird scene in the movie, not a weird scene, but there's a scene in the movie where she's like the boom operator, and she's getting into what she's seeing that they're filming, and she wants to jump into the movie, and then he has to deal with the fact that everybody now wants him to film his girlfriend having sex with Kid Cudi, and he's not down with that. And it gets wild from that point. Like I said, no spoilers, but it is a slasher. It is a down-home American slasher film by way of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Friday the 13th. It's got those kind of vibes. The only difference is it's A24. It's done with a little bit more care. It's silly. It's funny. It's got an amazing look. Great cinematography. Interesting things done with the editing just to kind of put things on point. All of the kills are incredibly graphic, unexpected. The way they pop, it's amazing. And this is a movie that is full of some twists and some interesting ideas, and the way that these get developed and the way that all of the characters get developed is very exciting, very appealing, and yes, it is saucy and sexy as well. The movie just came out. It's in theaters right now. It's called X, and I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to give this movie 4.5. Ya digs. And right now, it's my favorite movie of 2022. So there you go. I really liked X. I thought it was good. I thought it was a really solid horror film, and it's something that I've been wanting to see on screen again. And, you know, I'm not the biggest A24 head or anything like that, but it does seem like they take genre film and give it a little bit more of an oomph as far as the style and the visuals go. And this was a beautiful movie. I think I wrote some initial notes down when I got home, actually. Gory, old school, funny, great look, amazing sound design. So that's what I wrote for my initial thoughts. Brad says, The House of the Devil is awesome. Still on that TCM. I mean, it's still early in the year, Brando. Still a lot of movies to come. Let's see here. Jacob says, the movie producer was a mix between Matthew McConaughey and Kurt Russell. 100%. Right? You're on the money right there. Every chick besides the old lady looks hot. Yeah. And there's a twist, there's a spin, and if you watch the film, stay to the end of the credits. What's up, Mike Knight? That old chick is nuts. You'll find out why. Mark McGrath says, man, A24 really on a tear lately. Put that blue eyeshadow on the real thick tonight, babe. We're filming, right? Hey, Fable Station. Great show today, buddy. Great show. Jamie Rodriguez says, all of the A24 films I've seen are amazing. Looking forward to The Northman. I haven't seen many, but the ones I've seen I really like. Two Guns says, gotta go see X now. Yeah, it's a good film, bruh. If you like good old school American slasher horror. And it goes to show, why keep making requels and stupid ass reboots of franchises when you could literally just recapture that magic and film a movie set in period in the 70s or the 80s or something like that and capture that vibe that way. This 100% does it. It captures a 70s Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Hills Have Eyes type vibe and feel, but with a little bit of that Friday the 13th early 80s slasher vibe, and then with that A24 aesthetic, and it fucking works. It works 100% for me. I like the nuance of getting old versus embracing your youth, and that is the thematic material of that movie. And it's something to dive into, but I didn't want to dive too much into it because I don't want to spoil too much of the film. But it is kind of about being young versus being old and things like that. And sexual repression and other things. It's a really well done film. It's incredibly well done. I was very impressed with it. Yeah, Fable, I'm glad the community came through for you, man. And congrats. I'm excited to see Roman Fable join the PCP army. You just wait. Mustache Afro Kid Cudi, I'm in. Yes, he's great. And when they're filming the porns, so this dude's trying to make this, like, really artsy fucking film, and he's, like, talking about, like, how he's gonna, like, break ground with this. And it's still just the cheesiest fucking shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, would you like some of this lemonade? Would you like to come inside? All right? And then he drinks the lemonade. He's like, the taste is good. It's so stupid. It's fucking awesome. I wouldn't want to be too young. Kids are stupid. Yeah. There's some stupid kids in this movie. Trust me. It's good, though, man. I love it. I gave it 4.5, you digs, and that's the high point of 4.5, which we kind of like to call 4.69 here. My girlfriend Jamie, though, she gave it 5. She loved it. She thought it was fucking amazing. I wouldn't go that far. It has the potential, though, in hindsight, to hit that far, because they're setting up something too. They're setting up a larger world. Youth is wasted on the wrong people. Yeah, ain't that the goddamn truth? Can't be young without being stupid. I like that. Why did they hold that comment? That's so stupid. If you like horror films, if you like gory horror films, if you like sex in your horror films, if you like good, solid thematic statements, but also a wild ride with lots of gore and unexpected kills, every kill, when it happens, you're just like, ah, ha, ha. Every single fucking one got Jamie. It was great. It was great. Jacob says, Robbie, bruh, the Kid Cudi scene when he answers the door naked, though, that shit had me dying. Me too. Because you see the silhouette of this just giant fucking dong swinging there. It's great. Anyway, love the movie. The more I talk about it, the more I want to go to. Mia Goth is awesome. Brittany Snow is awesome. Kid Cudi is awesome. Everybody in that fucking movie does a hell of a job with their performances. Mia Goth is extra good in her performance, and you'll find out why when you actually watch the movie. I'm glad you liked it, Jacob. I loved it. I thought it was great. The taste is good. All right, let's switch over to comics. It's time for a great grand old segment here that we like to call Marvel in the 80s. And tonight we're talking about Captain America Annual number 8. That's right, y'all. This, of course, is written by Mark Grunwald with artwork by Mike Zeck, inking by John Beatty, with an assist by Joe Rubenstein. And this is Captain America versus Wolverine. It came out in September, I believe, of 1986. I was 5 years old. I was reading comics at this time. This was the year that I started reading comics, but I didn't read this one yet. In fact, I have always known of this iconic cover, but I had never, ever read this book. And I did not have this a physical like copy of this like the individual issue, but it is of course the next part of my Wolverine Omnibus. So we're going to talk about it. This was a really, really solid issue. I thought it was a great team up, right? We can tell from that iconic cover by Mike Zeck, which is absolutely phenomenal and amazing. We are teasing Captain America versus Wolverine. And you get that a little bit physically, but you get it 100% mentally. So we start off with Wolverine at a bar, kicking it real, drinking, and there's a bar fight going on behind them because they think this dude is a mutant. Now, they don't think that Wolverine's a mutant. It's another guy. Turns out it's this guy named Nuclo or something like that. And Wolverine's just trying to enjoy his drink. Meanwhile, they're beating the shit out of this dude, but then he beats the shit out of them. He's the only one left, and he walks away. So Wolverine decides to go check on him, make sure he's all right because he thinks he recognizes him, puts on his suit. And I just want to point out that Mike Zeck, oh my goodness. Now, you can tell when Rubenstein takes over the inking in this book, and Zeck and Beatty work so well together. I love this. And the way that he draws Wolverine, it's one of my favorites. It reminds me, throws me back into Secret Wars. I love the way he draws those fins or whatever. He gives them a dimension that other artists don't necessarily do. And I really like it. And I love that very confident brushwork and ink work, I should say, from John Beatty. But anyway, Wolverine is going and following him, and dude's getting his ass kicked by this giant robot just randomly. Wolverine jumps in. Some great action scenes here. He's fighting this robot. What's going on? And he eventually, the robot just takes off and knocks Wolverine off of him. So Wolverine saves dude, Nuclo or whatever, but he's like half beaten to death. The robot gets away, but there's a mysterious figure on like a hoverboard there. Wolverine contemplates what's going on. Meanwhile, Captain America has been called to this parking lot outside of this burger joint where this hole is opened up and swallowed up two people. And this is from that Mark Grunwald run of Captain America in the 80s, a very celebrated run with which I have not read every single thing from. I've only read little bits here and there. This is the run that we get Capwolf, but much later. Things like that. I almost said Bloodstone. It's the Bloodstone stuff, but it's Crossbones that get introduced into Bloodstone Hunt. Like, I read stuff like that. So Mark Grunwald's doing this great thing with Captain America, kind of going across the country, just helping out the average person. So he goes down into this sinkhole that opened up to try to investigate what happened. And there's this whole like Temple of Doom type thing in there where it's like a World War II era gauntlet of traps, right? And he finds the dudes. They fell into the first trap, ignited some gas, and almost killed them, but we find out that they are alive because this is a Marvel comic in the 80s, so we can't get too hardcore, right? So Cap tells them, look, I'm going to go explore more. He finds more and more of these gauntlet type things, right? These traps, including these spikes. Luckily, he's got his shield, including a room filled with guns. It's going to blow him away. This is how he knows it's World War II era, because the guns are from World War II. And one of my favorite bits in this comic is he just sits there and waits until the bullets run out, until he pops his head out, goes to the other room, and was something there, but it's been recently disturbed. He goes back up, says, close this off. I'm going to go find out more information. We're starting to piece this together. Meanwhile, we got this trucker. This trucker is going around. His truck just stops. He comes across this dude named the Overrider. So this dude has a ability to override electronics. So he shuts off this dude's truck and basically says, you're going to help me and break into this place, and I'll give you power back. And the robot, of course, he's the dude with the robot. The robot gets in the back of the truck, and they got a plan to go to this, like, I don't even remember where they're going, but it's like a nuclear facility or something like that, right? Meanwhile, Wolverine takes this busted-ass up mutant who's gotten his ass kicked by a whole bar, and then this robot takes him to the hospital, decides to leave, hunt down this robot, see what's going on. Meanwhile, Captain America is on the mysterious trail of what is this crazy-ass World War II era bunker with all these, traps and weapons in it. What's up with that? So he rides his bike to his van, and he chills out there. He's trying to find out some more information. Meanwhile, this trucker who's been taken hostage by the Overrider and this robot, they go to this facility. Oh, that's right. They're going to a place where they do metal work. That's what it is. First, they go to the metalwork place. Then they go to the nuclear place. So They go in, smash up, and basically he's there to make these dudes coat this robot in adamantium. That's okay. That seems pretty overhard, but hell yeah, if you got some nefarious plans, that's what you do, right? So Captain America, he's doing his thing. He's finding out more information about things to check out, and he winds up going to this same metal place because he gets it's this dude shows up. He's got this whole radio network, CB radio network, and someone's like, yo, the trucker like gets on there. And he's like, hey man, these people are at this metal place and they're going crazy. Wolverine has followed them there. Wolverine has broken in. Captain America has broken in. They confront each other. This is not their first meeting. I don't know what their first meeting actually is. Is it Secret War? Now, I know that Secret War is around the same time. They met there. So Cap knows who Wolverine is, but initially he tries to be like, yo, let's work out. What are you doing? Because at this time, Magneto is the leader of the X-Men, and Captain America's not cool with that, so Wolverine just like slashes at him, and that's the image right there at the bottom of the page. That's the image that is rendered gloriously for the cover. So they just tussle for a little bit, then the robot comes through. Now the robot has an adamantium shell, so now they have to team up. So it's the briefest of fights, but they have this like back and forth in ideology throughout. Let's just say that, right? So they're fighting this robot, and Overrider shows up. Some really great artwork here, some really solid stuff. Basically, the robot and Overrider get away. Wolverine and Captain America are going to reconvene, meet up, work together, but first they're going to go hunt down their own leads. I love that handshake moment right there, but Wolverine's got a big chip on his shoulder right here, and also Cap's a little bit of a dad. You know what I'm saying? So then we get the backstory of Overrider. Turns out his son has nuclear psychosis. When he explained he's a former S.H.I.E.L.D. agent who has the mutant ability to shut down electronics, right? And he was an ex-S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, and his kid asked him one day about nuclear weapons and the button and all that stuff. He told him, and he went into this catatonic state, freaking out about the end of the world. So now he is devising this plan to take this robot and disarm the world forcefully, right? Captain America's finding out about this bunker underneath. He's using his computers, finds out that it was a bunker designed. This robot was designed to be kind of a safety net for the super soldier program. So if the super soldiers came back from the war and decided to run their own shit and take over the country, these robots were going to kill them. That's why the robot is specifically altered to hunt down Steve Rogers, who was the only successful super soldier from that program. So that ties into his past. Wolverine uses the computers over at the X-Mansion to find out that there is a mutant who has this power. He connects the two. They both wind up going after the same people. Meanwhile, this guy, the Overrider, has his plan to go to this nuclear facility, and he wants to basically launch all of the nukes in the world to the bottom of the ocean, let them sit there, and if anybody ever messes with him, he'll just blow them up. And he wants to disarm the world so that his son can live in a world safe from nuclear annihilation and come out of his catatonic state. But Wolverine and Captain America know that they got to stop this dude. And so they go in and they have a big fight. They have a big battle. They have to work together. And even though Wolverine doesn't like taking orders from Cap, they do eventually put aside their differences, work together. Cap starts recognizing Wolverine's amazing ability as a fighter, his amazing ability as even developing strategy. So you got some really cool artwork. I think we're in the sections now where Joe Rubenstein is taking over the artwork, and you can tell. And they have to work together. There's a really great moment where basically Wolvie's plan is to decapitate this robot. That's the only thing that's going to happen because the joints aren't coated with adamantium. So he puts his claws in, but he can't get them far enough. Cap has to keep bashing his shield into Wolverine's hands, injuring those hands, but eventually decapitating the monster. Then Overrider comes in, and they easily incapacitate him. Cap throws his shield, knocks him off of his hover glider. He says, "Wolverine, catch him." But Wolverine's contemplating actually letting him fall into his claws. And then at the last minute decides, I won't. I'm not going to kill him with my claws, but I ain't going to fucking catch this asshole because of all the shit he just put us through. Plus, he's responsible for beating a mutant to near death. So then Cap's like, bro, you let him fall. He's like, but he ain't dead. He'd be dead if he fell in my claws. And they have this whole fucking moment. And Cap's all like, look, man, we work together, but it's kind of like this like father-son type thing, right? And it's very interesting. And Wolvie's like, oh, shove off. And then he goes and visits Nuklon or whatever in the hospital. A fantastic issue. I thought it was great. Annuals used to matter. This wasn't necessarily something connected to the overall story, but it fit in that overall story. It even fits in this omnibus as the ongoing tale of solo Wolverine, teaming up with other people, meeting Captain America, having a little bit of a tussle, a little bit of a mental tussle as well, but eventually working together to solve the crime, to save the day, and still end on the outskirts. I love this book. I think overall I'd give it 4.5, you digs. A little bit more consistency in the artwork if Beattie was able to handle it, but obviously Mike Zeck is known for being a little bit late. That is why they had to bring Rubenstein in, if I had to guess. But overall, I really like this book. Thought it was super solid. So, I don't have the original issue. It is one I'd like to get, but it is smack dab in the middle of my Wolverine Omnibus Volume 1. We've been going through this. There it is right here. Really like the printing on here. Now, you're not going to get that newsprint kind of sheen, so the colors, you may think they're a little, but the colors still work for me. And it really works printed on this larger size. I have never been the biggest omnibus guy, but I am really into them now because it's a good way to be like, you know what? Instead of having to hunt down each and every single one of these issues, because I'm a big Wolverine fan, I just buy this and I'm good. And they got a volume 2, and I think there's a volume 3 on the way. And this volume ends into the ongoing series. There's that moment right there. But it works. It works well. I'd like to have this issue, though, the original one. I'd really like to get a hold of that because seeing that on newsprint would be cool. And I know that book's a little bit more pricey because it's a popular cover, but it is something I want to get into. This omnibus has been amazing. It's Wolverine stories in chronological order. Starts with Weapon X, goes into Hulk 180, 181, 182. Well, it even prints that whole thing. We've been covering all of it. I love this issue. Next up in that omnibus is Spider-Man versus Wolverine. That is one that I do have physically. It doesn't have the Web of Spider-Man kind of sequel to Spider-Man versus Wolverine, which I have that too. I have my original copy from when I was a kid, so hopefully by next time we do a Wolverine bit here on Wolverine in the 80s, I will have found those issues so I could actually show those off too. But I don't have the original one. It's on the wish list. I wanted Captain America Annual number 8. Hardcore. Love the book. 4.5. What do you think? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments. What do you think about Captain America Annual number 8? Just an iconic cover or an iconic comic? I think it's both. What do you think? And this has been Marvel in the 80s. All right. Dun, 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 dun. I have that annual cover in a print. Hell yeah, Brando. The most iconic of covers. Love Mike Zeck. Hell yeah. How could Wolverine not win? Brando says, just finished this omnibus last week. It's a great omnibus, man. It's so good. And it's been the first omnibus that I'm trekking all the way through. And I have other omnibuses. I'm just waiting because I'm loving the format. At first, I thought they were too heavy. Now I'm used to it, Cover's so damn beautiful. Sex for the eyes. Hell yeah. Peace out, Chamorro. Cap and Wolverine first met in World War II. Yeah, I know that they've revealed that now, but I'm trying to remember what their first meeting in the comics where it was. Not chronologically, but like publication-wise. Was it Secret Wars? Was that the first time the X-Men met those Avengers? That version of the X-Men? Because I'm thinking Secret Wars, but maybe it's something else. The St. Peter's lose? Aw, poor St. Peter's. But he ain't dead. He'd be dead if he fell in my claws. That's what he says. Because, Cap's like, catch him, Wolverine. And he's like, I'm going to let him fall in my claws. No, I'm not going to kill him. And he falls, and he's like, is he dead? And you're like, no, he's barely breathing. Cap's like, you did that on purpose. He's like, yeah, but he didn't die. I didn't kill him. If he fell in these claws, he'd be dead. Wolverine's such like a fucking... It's so great, man, because Wolverine, like, nowadays, like, all the Marvel characters, they're all buddy and shit. But back in those days, some certain characters didn't get along with others. And it's cool seeing that dynamic there. And there's a moment, too, when he's walking away, he's like, your X-Men may be cool. That may be cool for your X-Men, buddy, but you'll never be an Avenger. Well, don't say never. Never say never again, Captain America. Because one day you're going to need Wolverine's help. Of course, they have an understanding. I think a lot of people aren't omnibus people until they buy an omnibus. Omnibuses don't have to be the end of collecting single issues, though. I think, yeah, that 100%. I collect single issues. I collect omnibuses. I collect trade paperbacks. I collect deluxe hardcovers. I collect it all. Omnibuses are just a great way to be like, you know what? For this particular run, I'm just going to go with it. Like, Wolverine in chronological order, like, I'm cool with reading that shit. Like, that's cool. I like that omnibus. I'm down for the Wolverine omnibuses. I get all the Todd McFarlane Spider-Man omnibuses, shit like that. Like, and I still want to buy those issues, right? So, yeah, it really works. But, I mean, I'm becoming an omnibus person by reading through this omnibus and realizing how this one purchase has given me... So, I'm like, I'm just over 500 pages, and I'm not even halfway through this fucking omnibus. It's great. And it's given me great stuff here for Rockin Robbie Live and Marvel in the 80s. Fable says, that was great. Got to check that issue out. Hell yeah. Well, you just seen every single page. Because I don't know if y'all have noticed, but for the last several of these whatevers in the whatevers, I have shown you every single page of artwork. I can't flip it in front of you, you know, but I'm showing you everything, talking about it. I'm trying to encourage people to maybe check out some of these books. Captain America Annual number 8, it's already going up in price. I want one, so y'all don't all go too crazy at the same time. Mike, I would say that War of the Realms is fine if you're reading Jason Aaron's Thor run. It's a great as a part of Jason Aaron's Thor run. As far as an event, it was weak. But as far as a part of Jason Aaron's Thor run, I really liked it. All the tie-ins, though, worthless. Skip them all. There was a Wolverine cartoon, I think, with him fighting Cap in World War II. I think they do eventually get to that, don't they? Because that would have been out by the time that cartoon was out, because that was that Jim Lee issue with Black Widow on the cover too, right? Where they revealed that. All right. Speaking of X-Men animation, when we come back from the break, we'll be talking about that, but we'll also be talking about 8-Diagram Pole Fighter, my latest Kung Fu Hong Kong cinema journey from my Seafood Bullseye Bob. Also, top 5 movies in 1979, show and tell, a little bit of that, and more. Yeah. Did you already talk about the movie X? Was that another thing? Yes. I did that probably about 30 minutes ago, if I had to guess. But yes, we did. I gave it 4.5, you digs. But the high point of 4, in fact, you can't give X 4.5. You gotta give it 4.69, dudes. We'll be right back, y'all.
Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have your doubts, not what I'm about, have your fucking clout. It be raining now, I keep making sound, go another round, bitch I'm legend bound, can't stop me now. You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and I'll show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. 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 anything negative, cause I just wanna hear it out your mouth, yeah. Give me fuel, it's a tool that I use to go ahead and run my fucking mouth, yeah. I take shots, I take loss, I make shots, I miss lots. That's how you get big boss, you get yachts, you swing lots and pop off a big shot. I ain't done chasing, got big dreams, bigger things, impatient. Who's at the top think they need replacement? Who's at the top think I'm gonna erase that? Face it, I don't give up quick, I don't give up shit, I won't give up this. Cause I know that I want it, know that I'm on it, I'll make it, I promise. You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and I'll show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Rockin Robbie Live here on Pop Culture Philosophers. We've had a grand old time tonight talking about comic books, movies, pop culture, and a whole lot more. We looked back to last week at what our favorite comic books were. We looked ahead at what was coming up in shops this week, including the DC sneak peek. I talked about my thoughts on the latest A24 release, X. Loved it. 4.5, or my bad, 4.69, you digs. We did a Marvel in the 80s talking about Captain America Annual number 8, Captain America versus Wolverine. And now here we are for the third and final act of Rockin Robbie Live tonight. Follow Pop Culture Philosophers on Facebook and on Instagram. If you're on Facebook, join the PCP Army. That's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. You can follow me on Twitter over at the Rockin Robbie. Check us out at popculturephilosophers.com, where you'll find the latest, newest episode of the podcast. First episode of the podcast we've done in over 2 years. Will be dropping tomorrow morning to download on popculturephilosophers.com. All James Bond. That's right, the Bondcast is finally here tomorrow morning on popculturephilosophers.com. If you want to support the channel, you can do so at patreon.com/PCP, like these fine PCP patrons right there. Thank you so much for keeping the dream alive. You're keeping all the popping, all the booming, and all the stationing, and all the reading going on. So we really do appreciate it. And also, If you're on patreon.com/PCP and you're at the $5 level or more, you get to be there for the exclusive stream of the recording of the newest episode of the podcast, which is this upcoming Friday night at 9 p.m. Central Time. We're talking about comic book villains. Me, Hammer Time Holshoe, Dashing Drew Matson, and Jolly Joe Corallo. So join us if you are a Patreon member over at PCP.com. Wait, Patreon.com/PCP. Coming up here on the channel tomorrow night, PCP Movie Night. March Madness continues with April Fool's Day. The monthly review is Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central Time. We got Tomorrow Cinema, Bearded Comic Bro, Comic Culture, Cerebros, and Comics Kings in the house. And Dylan's Horror Show officially wraps up March Madness in April with Midsummer. And that's Saturday night. So how's everybody doing? Kenneth's in the house. What's up? Two Gun Pedro says, Robbie, keeping their heads ringing. I know you're bobbing your head because I can see you. Evil Face Bad says, word, that last song had me bumping. Taki says, be sure to hit that like button, y'all. Yes, hit that like, subscribe, share, all that jazz and more. We hit up to 90-something I saw tonight, so it'd be nice if we could start hitting that 100 number again. But you know what? Who cares? We're just having a grand old time. If people don't want to have a grand old time with us, they don't have to. But you know they want to. You know they need to. So maybe we need to spread that word. The song sounds like it was the soundtrack for some Russian teen's first kiss in the 80s. Okay. Jacob says, I pulled a Rockin Robbie this morning and watched The Prestige. It was better than I remember. My mic is low? Thank you. It was better than you remembered? Hell yeah. Is that better? Is the mic better now? Billy says your mic is low, Tucky. So I'm just saying, maybe he's on to something there. I don't know. Everybody needs a little PCP in their life. Thank you. Now I'm just on standby till I know if the mic is it too low? What do y'all think? I need feedback. I'm going to get it in like 30 seconds. So what I got to do for that? Did you know that Pusha T, by the way, helped McDonald's come up with a da-da-da-da-da? Did you know that? Did y'all know that? Anyway. Yes, it's better, and my mic is low. Thanks, Billy. Okay. All right, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's probably really good right there. Sounds fine. Thank you, Bernardo. I just like how The Prestige is basically about a dude who had access to unlimited clones and still went to work every day. Because that's not how I would have done it. That's not how I would have done it at all. Well, I know that Bob, Bullseye Bob, from Everything Comics, has been a bit busy lately, him and Bueller. So they're not going to be joining us on Thursday night. But they will be making their return at some point. But this Thursday, Best Comics of the Month, 7 p.m. Central Time. Manny from Tomorrow Cinema. Brandon from Comics Kings. Verno from Cerebros. Nick from Comic Culture. And Greg from Bearded Comic Bro. We'll be talking about what we thought were the best comics of the month. And I'm very excited for that. But I was hoping he'd be here by now. But maybe he can't make it tonight. But Bob from Everything Comics has been my Kung Fu Hong Kong Cinema Sifu. And he's been sending me on a grand journey. And I have already watched a lot of these films. And we're coming to the end of basically phase 1. Okay? And at the end of phase 1, and he's already given me the list for phase 2, we may take a moment to get to it. But I have loved this journey so much. And tonight, we're going to talk about a movie that I just watched. I watched it last night, and then I watched it again this morning. And this is one of my favorites that I have seen on this journey. Tonight, we're going to be talking about The 8 Diagram Pole Fighter. So first of all, this movie is fucking awesome. It's a Shaw Brothers film. Came out in 1984, directed by Lau Kar-leung. Now, I'm probably going to butcher some of these names, and I'm sorry, but there he is. Bob, you always show up. It's like you know that we're about to do the Kung Fu movie review. All right. So Bob can help me out if I'm mispronouncing something. He'll let you guys know what's up if I missay something. Lau Kar-leung was the director of this film, and it stars Gordon Liu, right? It is Gordon Liu. That's his name, right? And also, is it Alexander Fu? Fu Xing. Okay. Man. Bob can give us some information about this, but let me tell you about this movie. I freaking loved it. So it's about these 7 brothers who are part of this family, the Yang dynasty or whatever, right? And they are betrayed by this asshole like Pao Ming or something like that, right? But they're betrayed and set up on the field of battle. And there are only 2 survivors, right? The 5th brother and the 6th brother, played by Alexander and Gordon respectively, right? Now, this opening fight scene in which you see the brutal slaughter of the majority of these brothers and their father was freaking amazing. Like, the cinematography, the colors, the music, instantaneously, I am into this movie, right? And it is gory, it's brutal, and it's absolutely fantastic. So, 2 surviving brothers. One kind of goes crazy and goes back home and tells his 2 sisters and his mother that the brothers have been killed. He's the 6th brother. Now, Bob had told me, if you can watch this in the original language, do that because the scene has more impact then, and it is really dumb in the dub. And yeah, you're right. This character doesn't have the nuance I think that he should have. I can see it there on the face, on the emoting of this actor, but the dubbing is not giving it, right? So he tells them that all the brothers are dead and one other one is missing. That's Gordon Liu. He's brother number 6, and he has run away, and he decides he wants to join a monk. They won't allow him. There's too much war, too much hate in his heart, so he forcefully goes in there, shaves his own hair off, and burns the symbols into his head in a very powerful scene. And the monks, the abbots, the elders, they don't really quite know what to do with him, right? And the whole second act of this film is him at this monastery trying to figure out what to do. And there's this whole idea about fighting wolves. So the monks train with poles to fight wolves. And Gordon Liu's character, the 6th brother, has this philosophy as a soldier that you have to kill the wolves, break them down, and let the other wolves smell the blood, and then they won't come back. But the monks, they remove the teeth of the wolves because they're God's creatures we don't kill, but we remove their ability to cause us harm, right? And he has some trouble in the second act adjusting to this. So he's really adamant about becoming a monk, hiding away from everything. He's gone through a crazy tragedy. One of the things about this movie is it's showing these 2 brothers who survived, and they're 2 different paths of grief dealing with that loss, right? So he has this struggle at this monastery, and he's still told that he has to leave. Well, one of the elders who he had a really good kind of bond with, right? And even though he's very skilled, he doesn't have the ability to take this heart and this path of revenge and this hatred inside to become a monk. So there's a lot of that philosophical battle going back and forth, right? So one of these elders that he's really bonded with goes to his home to tell his mother and his sisters and his surviving brother where he is. He gives them a clue. He's like there for vegetables. He's like, send him to this temple. And so it's this whole thing. When he first gets there, there's a fight scene. The fight scenes are awesome regardless. And then the sisters, by the way, that's Chung-Li, right? Like 100%. That's freaking Chung-Li. She doesn't have the buns, but that's Chung-Li, which I think is awesome. But that was totally the vibe I got. But he gives them a clue. And then on his way back to the temple, the Mongols, because this family was betrayed to the Mongol army in this whole like whole conspiracy of jealousy and conceit, right? But he winds up being ganged on. He winds up being like overtaken by like a bunch of people, and he kills himself so he won't give up the information on where Gordon Liu's character is. But they do send the Chung-Li looking sister, the 8th daughter, after him, and she winds up getting captured by the villains of the piece. And then there is a survivor from that instance and that fight scene that goes to the temple, lets Gordon Liu know that his sister is being held captive by these assholes that betrayed them and caused all of this. And he can't leave because at this point he's now an accepted monk, right? He's actually gone through everything, and he's kind of almost nearing peace. And then this brings back that whole revenge and everything. And the monk, the abbot, tells him, you can't leave. You can't forsake your vows to Buddha. You can't do that. You can't forsake your vows to God. You have to do this. And they wind up having this fight, to which then the abbot concedes to let him go. It's a very powerful moment. So he winds up going, confronting these dudes in the big epic battle at the end. A fucking fantastic battle. Everybody's wearing different colors. The colors are popping. They're on these coffins representing his dead brothers, possibly his dead sister, and they're fighting on them. There are people popping out of them. It is such a spectacle. It is choreographed like crazy. And then the monks show up to help. And they're not killing these dudes, but they're incapacitating them. And he's like, but you're breaking your vow. And he goes, no, we're fending off wolves. And all these monks come in. And I don't really have a good picture of this, but they literally come in and knock and pull the teeth out of all of these motherfuckers in really viscerally fucked up ways, man. They rip the teeth out of these dudes with poles, and along with his sister and the monks and the abbot, they officially finally win. And Gordon Liu is my jam, y'all. Bruce Lee, he's great. Jackie Chan, he's great. Jet Li, I'm enjoying him. I'm going to tell y'all this. Gordon Liu's probably my fucking favorite. Like, I think this and 36 Chambers Shaolin are some of my favorite movies I've seen so far. He's a big part of that. He's able to really, even through bad dubbing, he's able to really emote his character out visually. It is freaking fantastic. I love this movie. The music is fantastic. It blew me away all the way through. Visually, the fighting, the sound design, the brutality of it, the tragedy of it, the epic cinematography, the way that the production design is. There's so much meticulous care put into this, and the amazing performances throughout this entire movie from all of these people, in particular, Gordon Liu. I absolutely loved this movie. I loved the message. I loved its pace, a very clear, distinct 3-act structure, but it works, and everything was so epic, so perfectly shot, so emotively captured. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I'm giving this one 5 fucking you digs. Yeah, Bob, this movie slapped. This movie slapped. This movie slapped. I loved it. I loved it so freaking much. Wu-Tang says, Bob, my guy, you have insanely fire taste in Kung Fu cinema. To which Bob says, thank you. I have been a fanatic since I was about 6 years old. Hell yeah. Peace out, Eddie. By the way, Lau Carl Leung, the director, played the part of the guy who fought off the enemy so he could get away through the tunnel near the beginning of the movie. That's a good scene, too. I forgot about that one. That's a really good scene. Rob, where do you watch all your Kung Fu hitters? This one I watched on Amazon. I rented it on Amazon. Last week was Fearless. I watched Fearless on Amazon. I think I rented it there. So usually I rent it on Amazon or YouTube, or it's on Tubi or on Amazon Prime, something like that usually. Gordon Liu, the tops for me too, says Fable. Wu-Tang says, Gordon Liu is a legend. Love hearing this respect. Hell yeah. Bob says, that's how you know a true kung fu aficionado. When you love Bruce Lee, but you find Gordon is absolute royalty. Robbie has fully transitioned. Station. Aw, Herms misusing his power. He's abusing his power. He accidentally timed somebody out. But thank you for sticking around, Mike. Nah, Bob, like, thank you. That means a lot to me, man. But, like, Gordon Liu's the shit. Like, he's able to carry it, man. This whole damn movie. That moment when he's, like, basically they're like, you can't be a monk here. He's like, I don't give a shit. He shaves his own head in a very painful way, burns his the little pegs or holes into his head. What? Like, his expression, the way you're right, it's an emotional thing. There's an Arrow Blu-ray of this I gotta get, because surely it's got the original language too, right? And I did like some of the dubbing, to be honest with you. One of the biggest problems with the dubbing is they try to make it match with the lips as much as they can, and they read things too quick sometimes. So I can definitely see how this movie would improve on a further watch in the original language. But man, it was that carried across. That carried through. 5, you digs. It's one of the favorites that I've watched. Hero, 36 Chamber, and this. Those are like the 3 best ones I've watched out of this whole goddamn thing. Man, those, I love them. Those are movies I have to own. You know what I'm saying? Gordon Liu is the Mr. Perfect of Kung Fu cinema. What, like the wrestler? Bob says, this movie is in my top 10 of all time. 5, you digs for me as well. This movie is the first one I think I saw Kung Fu movies as superhero movies. 8 Diagram is pure fire. Hell yeah. Excellent movie. Thank you for the recommendation. Speaking of movies, we're going along. It's time to talk about 1979. We've been going through these movies in the 70s, determining what we think are the best. So right now I want to know, what are your top 5 favorite movies of, and this is the end of it, 1979. At number 5, I'm going Zombie by Lucio Fulci, also known as Zombie 2, is actually called Zombie 2 back in the day because Dario Argento's cut of Dawn of the Dead was released in Europe as Zombie, and Italian copyright law is not the best. And so they were able to do a sequel to it without actually getting rights to do the sequel to it, and they did this movie called Zombie, as it's known here. It's known as, some Flesh Eaters or something like that in the UK. But I love this movie. We covered it on a horror fest like 2 years ago. It's great. It's gnarly. It's gross. The zombies are nasty. They got maggots all over them and shit. And then it's got a zombie versus a shark scene. But it's great. It's got a great soundtrack by Fabio Frizzi. It's Lucio Fulci. It's on here. At number 4, Monty Python's Life of Brian. I grew up in the church, in the Baptist church in particular. I studied. I did all that stuff. And even in those days, I really appreciated the satirical nature of this book, because there are things about certain stories and mythologies that you can poke fun at. And I really love this story, which I think is a rather nuanced take on the different classes of society and zealotry and revolution. And it's saying a lot by using the time of Christ and telling the story of the dude who was born in the manger next to Christ. The Life of Brian, to me, is my favorite Monty Python movie. I think it's historically and cinematically brilliant. 100%. At number 3, Star Trek The Motion Picture. Yeah, I know. I know what people think. And I don't care what people think. I love Star Trek The Motion Picture. It is my favorite Star Trek film outside of Star Trek First Contact, but actually it probably is my favorite because it, to me, is the movie that really captures the essence of what Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek is supposed to be about. Exploration. Not so much conflict, but exploration, ideas, and concepts. And I love this long-ass, boring to some film I think it's brilliant. I think it's genius, and I'm super pumped that they're re-releasing the director's cut in 4K. I think it's great. At number 2, Phantasm, Don Coscarelli. Phantasm is one of my favorite films. Y'all know it. We covered all of these on a Horror Fest a couple of years ago. This is a 5 You Dig film as well. Absolutely amazing. A brilliant score. An amazing, stands the test of time performance by Angus Scrimm as the tall man. An intriguing story, truly dreamlike in an Argento Suspiria sense. And still kind of captures that 70s raw horror vibe that X does. Phantasm's one of my favorites at number 2 for sure. And at number 1, Wu-Tang, it can't be any doubt, man. It's Alien. Ridley Scott, Alien, Dan O'Bannon. This movie's awesome. It's body horror. It's sci-fi horror. It's haunted house horror. It's got all of this stuff. It's monster. It's a creature feature. It's so brilliantly done. And it's also about the blue-collar worker versus the corporation. And it's visually stunning and expertly paced. And it's a masterclass in suspension and production design. And the whole feel and look and vibe of the music of Jerry Goldsmith, who, by the way, did the score on Star Trek The Motion Picture, which is absolutely brilliant as well. But Jerry Goldsmith also has an amazing score here. What a hell of a year for Goldsmith, right? But this movie is absolutely freaking fantastic. So there you go. So to recap, for my top 5 of 1979, I want to see your top 5s out there right now. Mad Max was an honorable mention for me for sure. But I want to know your top 5s. Mine are number 5, Zombie. Number 4, Life of Brian. Number 3, Star Trek The Motion Picture. Number 2, Phantasm. And number 1, Alien. What are yours? All right. Always look on the bright side of life. Hell yeah. William says, for 79, The Warriors, Time After Time, Caligula, Phantasm, and Alien. Fable says, I like the motion picture. I thought the V'ger concept was brilliant. I like it too. Oh, when he creates, hell yeah. When he talking about 8 diagram, when he creates the yin-yang symbol on the floor with the pillows and the lamps is one of my favorite of all-time scenes when he defeats the master to become a master himself. Absolutely. And you're right, Herm, 79 was a great year. Wu-Tang says, Alien is the greatest sci-fi horror film ever made. Evil Face Bad says, Mad Max for me. Twitch says, number 5, Star Trek. Number 4, Mad Max. Number 3, The Warriors. Number 2, The Muppet Movie. Number 1, Rocky. Big Herm says 5, Dracula, Frank Langella. Hell yeah. Number 4, The Muppet Movie. Number 3, Warriors. Number 2, Rocky 2. And number 1, Alien. Choco's 26 says, The Warriors and the Muppets for my wife. Bob says, Alien, Kramer versus Kramer, The Jerk, and Justice for All, Warriors. Wu-Tang says, Alien, Warriors, Mad Max, Apocalypse Now, and a bootleg copy of Alien. My top 5. Jacob says, 79 is way before my time, but my pop was playing Alien, Warriors, Apocalypse Now, Amityville Horror, and Mad Max heavy in my house. Albert says, Alien would be my number 1. Bob says, honorable mentions, Zulu, Dawn, Kid with the Golden Arm, and Mad Max. My fan fiction is that V'ger visited the Borg homeworld. That's true. That actually fucking happened, bro. That's not your fan fiction. That's William Shatner's. William Shatner wrote a fucking Star Trek book where that was the thing. So William Shatner wrote a Star Trek book where he didn't actually die at the end of Star Trek Generations because he didn't like the ending. He didn't like his death in that movie. So he wrote a thing where he went through a portal, and basically through this book, they find out that V'ger was the kind of almost the origins of the Borg. Isn't that wild? So yeah. Yeah, I don't even know what Zulu Dawn is. So yeah, Bob is the king of deep cuts there tonight, bro. You got it. You got it. You won. You won. Ronald, Escape from Alcatraz. That was in my honorable mentions. I love that movie. When I was a kid, I was fascinated for some reason with the idea that he made like a fake like face to like fool the guards. I love that movie. Clint Eastwood, man. The Return, written by Shatner. Thank you, William. Thank you. Bob says, Apocalypse Now was that year. Switching out Injustice for All on my list for that one. Apocalypse Now was fire. Yeah, that's a good movie, too. I haven't seen that in ages. Ages. Speaking of ages, how long has it been since you watched X-Men Animated? The X-Men Animated Series. For me, it was this morning because we're going through the X-Men Animated Series. We're season 1 at least right now, and we're on episode 10, Come the Apocalypse. So, y'all, it's time for an annotation on X-Men Animation. And we're on episode 10, Come the Apocalypse. And we start off on Muir Island, where we left off on the last episode with The Cure. The whole story about Rogue going to Muir Island, where allegedly Dr. Adler had made a cure. We found out Dr. Adler was actually Mystique. And the whole thing was run by Apocalypse to make people into his slaves. But at the end of that episode, we got Angel, Warren Worthington, coming to be healed. And that's how this episode starts. So Angel is cured, but it's actually Mystique. She's actually working for Apocalypse. It's not going to go well for Angel. Meanwhile, the X-Men are chilling, still in Muir Island at a bar. Warren Worthington III shows up, says, they cured me. I'm fine. And then they have kind of a rather intense confrontation with Cyclops over like mutant cures and, you know, and all that kind of stuff, right? So that was pretty interesting. But actually, that was Mystique. Archangel has been formed. That's right. There is no more Angel. It is Archangel. And now Apocalypse has also made, from other people wanting to be cured, his 4 horsemen of the Apocalypse. And he sends them to terrorize the world, including the World Peace Conference. And he just starts wrecking shit. So he sends them away. He's got a secret base at the bottom underneath Stonehenge, which I thought was badass as a kid. This, by the way, this episode aired for the first time February 27th, 1993. And I remember it well because Apocalypse is my favorite X-Men villain. And this was the first full time we got to see Apocalypse, really. We saw him a little bit in the last episode, but this is where we get to see him even more so. So Rogue gets sent to Muir Island while the X-Men are sent to confront Apocalypse and the 4 horsemen who are causing all this devastation. Turns out Adler is Mystique. Rogue confronts Mystique, traps her, gets the information where Apocalypse is. Rogue goes to confront Apocalypse herself, and luckily it doesn't last too long because she does get her ass kicked, and yes, this is where we get that bodacious booty meme from Rogue. It is this episode, and then the X-Men show up. Basically, the 4 horsemen show up to Apocalypse is there, and they're like, yo, the X-Men are kicking our asses because the X-Men fight them, and they're kicking their asses. They run back, but the X-Men show up. Rogue, then, without her jacket, which I always thought was super cool when you see things like this in the animated series, to go a little bit above and beyond and show her without her jacket for some reason, she pulls the evil away from Archangel. Apocalypse is like, y'all were not worthy. You are not the fittest. And so then he goes off and runs away, and Angel goes and comforts Rogue. Rogue's like, I have your evil now. He's like, I hope you can handle it. And she's telling him, look, yo, we all got our struggles. We're all, you know, there's not everything is perfect about being a mutant, but we're all in this together. That's what we got to do. And that was that episode. I thought the episode was great. It kind of, Apocalypse is such a great villain that when he's used in this way where he's kind of almost downplayed a little bit, he's just a little bit more of a mustache twirling type villain. That's a little disappointing, but it is a way to very quickly kind of get in the whole Apocalypse 4 horsemen idea. And of course, this is going to develop out further. There was this idea when Xavier's talking about Apocalypse, when he's destroying the World Peace Conference, right? Very, very poetic, right? Very, very well done in Sabanur. But he's telling the X-Men, like, Magneto holds himself back, but Apocalypse doesn't. That's what he was worried about, and that's going to build up throughout the course of this season. Of course, as we have for the last few weeks, I read the X-Men Adventures number 12, pulled that out of my collection. This is the issue that focuses on this episode, but it starts with the Horsemen already made, because the end of the last issue, they split up the Cure into 2 issues, but the last third of that last issue was actually the beginning of this. So it's actually a pretty decent issue. It follows the story kind of spot on, but they do, it kind of follows the story beat for beat, but they do kind of shorten it up a little bit towards the end with the way that they have Rogue. You don't see her confrontation with Apocalypse, and you don't really see the X-Men fight the Horsemen, really. But what you see is the X-Men show up, and Rogue is already defeated by Apocalypse and the Horsemen. This issue, it's fine for what it is. It's very nostalgic. Going back to it, I love that Fox Kids Network thing right there. It's got some decent artwork. It's written by Ralph Macchio. You got that centerfold spread right there. I do really like that. And then let me show you the moment. Yeah. So in this one is a very jarring cut because it just goes from Rogue finding out that Apocalypse is underneath Stonehenge. So she runs off, and the very next page, and in the show, you have this whole fight scene with the X-Men, and then they show up, and Rogue has this confrontation with Apocalypse. But if they just show up, the X-Men show up, and they've already kicked Rogue's ass, and they're going. By the way, in my childhood, that was one of the sexiest images I'd ever seen. Jim Lee Psylocke right there. But yeah, it's a decent enough issue. It's a decent enough episode. There's Rogue taking on the Power. Obviously, the animated series is a little bit better than the comic book, but the comic book does kind of stretch some things out and shorten some other things, so it's an interesting kind of thing. All in all, I'd give this episode a 4 you digs. It doesn't quite capture the full majesty of Apocalypse, but it does it in a really great, streamlined kind of way. What do y'all think about that episode? What are your recollections? And that's episode 10 out of 13 on the first season, so we're building up. We're about to come up to the 2-parter, Days of Future Past, and that has been your X-Men annotation on X-Men Animation. There you go. No wonder I was in love with Rogue back in the day, says Fable. Hello, nurse. Right? As a kid, I never realized how long they dropped the Charles and Eric into the Savage Land. Oh, yeah, I remember that. Was that season 2? Where they're in there almost the whole season? Beast has been in goddamn prison this whole fucking time. I remember when I was a kid hating that. I was like, you see Beast in the first couple episodes, and then you don't see him at all till towards the end. I fucking hated that shit. Shout out the Rogue voice actors screaming all those, "Get out of my hands." Mike says, the Shatnerverse Trek novels are fucking awesome. Better than any Trek of the last 15 years or so. Hell yeah. Joseph's got a top 5. Jaws, Rocky 2, Alien, Starman, and Poltergeist. Starman that year? Yeah, Rogue could get it back then, huh? Big Herm says, I'm up to the final 5th season. I forgot how not so good it was. Yeah, they were really dropping it. Twitch says, still love that they had Mystique use the name Dr. Adler, a clear reference to her wife, without being able to have that element. Absolutely, you're right. I didn't even think about that. Destiny? The Apocalypse voice is how I always imagine Apocalypse sounds when I read my books. Me too. I am Apocalypse. Or I can't even do it. It's so good. My crush for Rogue started from watching the animated series. I think there's a lot. Yeah. Hello, nurse. Rogue acting like she needed powers to drain our energy with all them cakes. What story made you fall in love with Apocalypse? I was reading Apocalypse stuff. I guess I read that first stuff because some of my earliest comics, X Factor was part of that. So I read Apocalypse stuff there, and I really, really liked it. Then I remember this, it was Executioner's Song, I think it was the next time. I mean, but before that, I read the stuff where Angel became Archangel, right? Like Fall of the Mutants and all that shit. So like that's what got me into it as a very, very young kid. I started reading comics in 86. I was like 5-6 years old. And so those were some of my first ones. So like I've just always loved Apocalypse. He's got that Egyptian kind of flair to him. I love that design. I love the action figure. So hell yeah. When are you going to review Fox's Silver Surfer cartoon? Maybe we'll get to that one day. There's a lot of stuff we can do, right? Robbie, I liked your Cyberforce review. Fair and accurate. Well, thank you very much. I'm thinking about getting that. Thinking about getting the hardcover, but I'm actually just gonna hunt down the issues. That's what I've been doing. But Drunken Sailor, to answer your question quickly, his first few appearances in X Factor, followed the mutant stuff in particular, I believe, where Angel turns to Archangel. That shit was dope. And that's why I like this episode, because it kind of harkens back to that a little bit. Bob says, by the way, your mission on the next movie is Shaolin Soccer, since you've already seen Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I would like to revisit Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, though, knowing what I know now about Hong Kong Kung Fu cinema. So, I get what you're saying, but on my own volition, I'm also going to check out Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Again. Wu-Tang says, Apocalypse's voice in the cartoon made me fall in love with him. For me, it's like Conroy's Batman, meaning the bar everyone has to reach for. Absolutely. I remember watching that Silver Surfer cartoon when it was coming out, and I thought that 3D shit was awesome, y'all. John Hammertime Holshoe wants to let us know that besides the Pop Culture Philosophers site, the podcast is also available via Google Podcasts and iTunes. It's also in a bunch of random shit. There's all these sites that just pick up podcast RSS feeds or something, and if you just type in Pop Culture Philosophers Podcast, you'll find them everywhere. But I would recommend that everybody goes to our website to check it out, or iTunes, or wherever you find it. But Google Podcasts apparently too. So there you go. Top 10 theme songs for shows, comic book shows? Ugh. I mean, that's rough, but we got X-Men. I kind of don't know if I can do a top 10 right now, but like maybe this is something to do in a future top 5. But Batman the Animated Series, X-Men the Animated Series, Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, Iron Man Armored Adventures, dope-ass fucking theme song. He's a man on a mission. Those are some good ones that pop up in my head. What else is there? What else? Comic book. Let's see. Superman theme's okay. I like the Ruby Spears Superman opening, actually. Yeah, we'll go with those. Oh, and Fantastic Four. That's right, Fantastic Four, Marvel Action Hour. On an outer space adventure, they got hit by cosmic rays, and the four will change forever in the most fantastic ways. No need to fear, they're here. Just call the four. Fantastic Four. Reed Richards is elastic. Sue can fade from sight. Johnny is the Human Torch. The Thing just loves to fight. Call the four. Don't need no more. Fantastic Four. Hell yeah, there you go. As far as openings in general, yeah, DuckTales is up there. That's a good one. I do like Dragon Ball Z, man. I watched the show. I've never read the manga, but I've watched the show. DBZ and Dragon Ball and GT. I haven't watched Super, though. All right, now it's time for show and tell. And for tonight, for show and tell, we do a lot of toy stuff, but I haven't bought a lot of toys over the last couple weeks, but I have gotten some graphic novels and I got some things I want to show off. So some new acquisitions and some collections basically new acquisitions that are part of collections. Anyway, Daniel Clowes, I picked up Wilson. I haven't seen the movie. I haven't read this book. But Amazon only had a few copies left, and I can no longer get this through my distributors at my shop. So I decided, might as well go ahead and pick it up because I love Daniel Clowes. Then I've been on a big Jim Mahfood kick, and I initially had Girl Scouts, the Image series. I picked it up issue by issue, and then I wound up selling those in a purge years ago. And I never picked up Magic Socks, but over the last several weeks, I have now completed the collection because, obviously with the new one, I'm really digging it for Stone Ghost. But there's the first Girl Scouts trade. There's the second Girl Scouts trade. And then the style change. But I did pick up Magic Socks in trade paperback. And just to show my old school Jim Mahfood love, when I first got introduced to Jim Mahfood's work was the Clerks books that he did. I lost those in the purge that I did, and I got rid of the Clerks books too because I had this trade paperback. But when I met Jim Mahfood, I got him to sign it, and that's how he signed it. I thought it was fucking awesome. I also had a Girl Scouts trade paperback from my buddy David, and he signed it David Sucks. It was he signed it with, I think, one of the girls. It wasn't that one, but yeah, he had like her and a word balloon popping out that said Dave Sucks or something like that, which I thought was dope. All right, just picked up my latest Mighty Marvel Masterwork with Daredevil Volume 1. I get these Michael Cho covers because I do love the classic covers more, but I like the spine more on these. So what these are is they're the classic digest size reprints of the Silver Age stuff, and I've been picking them up. Daredevil was the latest one, Volume 1. This has Daredevil 1 through 11 in it for $15. And I'm going to show off the other ones that I have gotten. X-Men Volume 1. I do love these Michael Cho covers, but they work better spine-wise for me here because the original covers, they like have a weird spine where they focus on the Mighty Marvel Masterworks and not on the actual book. Anyway, I got the Mighty Thor Volume 1. And then Spider-Man, they've released 2. I have both of them, 1 and 2. Between the two of these books, it's the first 19 issues of Spider-Man and the first annual, plus Amazing Fantasy. I got the Incredible Hulk. This is something we're going to see. They're all the same price regardless of how many issues are in them, so that kind of sucks, but there's the Incredible Hulk. I love these Cho covers. And then Avengers. Now, they also have 2 volumes of Fantastic Four out, but I have those already in Essentials and in Epic, so I don't get those. And they have the first volume of Doctor Strange, but I skipped out on that because I got the hardcover Omnibus Volume 1 of Doctor Strange. Also, I picked up Volume 5 and 6 of the TMNT Ultimate Collection from IDW. These are the paperbacks. 6 just came out. So I picked those up and might as well just show off the whole damn collection and remind everybody that Kevin Eastman's going to be here in Huntsville, Alabama. That's right. At the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo, April 22nd, 23rd, and 24th in Huntsville, Alabama. Not only will Pop Culture Philosophers be there, but Kevin Eastman will be there. We'll have a booth, we'll have a panel, all that. But, I've only ever read like the first 10 issues of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And so I missed out on the hardcovers. Brooks got those, but I decided I'd go ahead and get the soft covers. So there's Volume 1. Volume 2. So Volume 1 has TMNT 1 through 7 plus Raphael. Volume 2 has 8 through 11 plus Michelangelo, Donatello, and Leonardo. The micro series. Volume 3 has 12, 14, 15, 17, and 19 through 21. Because then the show started getting made. They got busy. They had other people come in. So a lot of these, it seems like this is a sporadic collection, but this is the collection of the ongoing Eastman layered thread, if that makes sense. And then Volume 4, we got 48 through 55. That starts City of War. And then Volume 5 is the big finale of City of War. 56 through 62, that's pretty much the whole saga. And then what Volume 6 is Volume 6 is a bunch of short stories between 85 and 89, a lot of them done by Eastman and Laird. So I don't necessarily know where those short stories appeared, but I like that they did that. The problem is, just like with the Mighty Marvel Masterworks, they get thinner as they go, and the price stays the same. So that kind of fucking sucks. Aside from that, they're pretty dope. Now, hardcover-wise, I know they did a Volume 7 that I think had all the covers and some other things. But to get every single issue, you also now have to collect the TMNT Classics. I plan on working on those as I go on, right? You know what I'm saying? Wu-Tang says, yo, big respect for how legitimately Rob's brain started pulling bangers for a top 10 comic book themes. Thank you. Thank you. Drunken Sailor says, thanks for the answer. And yeah, his design is great, especially when drawn by Walt Simonson. Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. Turtles. East of West Year 2 and Hellboy Library Edition 2 just came in the mail, and I found Daredevil Love and War at the LCS this week. Hell yeah, bro. That's awesome. I used to have a really nice hardcover that was it was basically Daredevil by Miller and Sienkiewicz, and so it had Love and War, and it had Elektra Assassin in it, and I got rid of it like some fucking idiot, and I wish I still had that, because I don't have those in any kind of form right now. Do you got a copy of Drawing Blood for Eastman to sign for you? No. I am debating what I'm going to get Eastman to sign. It's $30 a signature. So I think I'm only going to get one or two. And I'm trying to find, what do I want? Like, I got these trade paperbacks, and it'd be cool to have him sign like the first one, but like I don't have a TMNT #1. But I'm going to go see if at his table he has prints. And if he has prints, I want to buy a print and have him sign that, and that way I can frame it and hang it up. What's up? Bueller is in the house. Comics with Bueller, out on the road watching Rockin Robbie live on a Sunday night. I am honored. Thank you so much for being here, my man. I hope you are doing good, my friend. I am doing great. We're just talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle books, man. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle books. Got Kevin Eastman coming to my area in April. What should I get him to sign, Bueller? Obviously, I don't have any high-priced Turtles comics. I got some trades. I'm thinking about, and I got The Last Ronin, but everybody's going to get him to sign The Last Ronin. Who cares about that? I'm thinking about seeing if he has a print. Get a cool print, get him to sign it so I can frame it. It's going to be a good show, man. Jim Starlin's going to be here. Oh, I'm so ready. What should I get Jim Starlin to sign? I have the first appearance of Thanos. Should I dig that out? I'm afraid if he signs it, the cover will finally detach. But it's appropriate that Bob is here. And it's appropriate that Bueller is here. That's a nice one, John. I like that. I like that, John. Let him sign D's nuts. That's fun. Maybe I should. John, I'll give you $30 to get Kevin Eastman to sign your ball sack while we're at the expo. The benefit is that we'll be there at open, so we're going to be like first in fucking line. We're not going to have to wait. We're just going to get there, before the expo starts, and we're just going to stand there and wait for Kevin to fucking show up. I get to host Kevin Eastman at Washington State SummerCon. I'll be hosting the panel, and he'll be on the show. Hell yeah, brother. One of the things I want to do when I meet him is see if he'll be interested in done. Yeah, if he'll sign your nuts for fucking $12 or for $30, we'll see what happens. Have Starlin sign the Batman with either KG Beast or Death in the Family. Yeah, but I don't know. For Starlin, I don't know, man. I don't know. I could get him to sign my Infinity Gauntlet trade paperback from the 90s. Or the early 2000s, whatever that is. That is, by the way, fucking awesome, Bueller. The guy that runs Archon never lets me know ahead of time. He calls me, he just comes up to my booth during the show and he goes, hey, can you do the Jim Shooter panel? Hey, can you do the Chris Claremont panel? So if he needs someone to do Kevin Eastman, I'm down. But, everybody's going to want to do that one. I can't wait to meet him, though. I'm fucking pumped. And then at Memphis Comic-Con in September in Memphis, Tennessee, we got James O'Barr, we got Kevin Nolan, we got Cullen Bunn, we got Mark Waid, we got Ron Mars. I'm very fucking pumped for that. Francisco! Hell yeah, station. Wu-Tang says, I'm not even Kevin Eastman, but it would cost at least $35 for me to scribble on your nuts. Just saying. All right, it's appropriate that Bueller and Bob are here, though, because we're continuing their legacy of the first and final 5. We have retired the first 6 and the final 9 to continue on the tradition. We're going through my Blu-ray collection. We're in the P's. We're still in the P's. This is appropriate. This is my Psycho collection. There are 5 Psycho movies. So for the final 5 tonight, Psycho. So there is the original Psycho film. This movie is obviously brilliant. Y'all know it. I don't need to pump it up. Then Psycho 2. This movie, I think, is severely underappreciated. This movie is one of the best sequels out there. It was done like 20 years later, but it still works, and it's incredibly nuanced. Very well done. Psycho number 3, got it with a slip. But Psycho number 3, I like this one. This one starts getting into weird stretch territory, but it's in the weird stretch territory I like, where we get to see, I don't know, what's his name? Jeff Fahey? Is that his name? The Lawnmower Man? He's the pilot in Lost? It doesn't have his name here. I think it's Jeff Fahey. Anyway, we get to see him, like, naked, with, like, a guitar between his crotch, and this chick nude dancing around him. All right, weird stretch, but I'm cool with Psycho 3, the weird stretch. Then we got Psycho 4, the beginning. Don't really like this one, so it's kind of like a new film, but at the same time, it's like flashing back to, like, Norman's childhood, and the kid from E.T. plays Norman. It's all right. And what's her name from Romeo and Juliet plays his mother, Olivia Hussey. She's in Black Christmas. This one, it's all right. And then, yeah, that's right. The remake. Gus Van Sant. I actually like this movie. This movie came out when I was in high school. It kind of was a big deal back then. So I liked it. So yeah, there's my Psycho movie collection. All 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the remake, and it's one of my favorite slasher franchises still to this day. So there you go. Every time Robbie's slick tongue ropes me into breakdowns of horror movies. All right. Yeah, that Washington con sounds like it's going to be a good one. What's cool is that Kevin Eastman apparently only does regional cons. So that means he'll do 1 con per region. So like he's got 5 shows, only 5 shows this year. And he chose our show for his Southeastern tour, if you will. But yeah, we got Kevin Eastman at the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo. I hope you guys can make it. If you can, come see us at our booth. We'll be selling the trademarked PCP mystery boxes. We'll have a panel there. Lots of great stuff. Voice actors from animes. People are always big fans of this stuff at those cons. We got Jim Starlin there, comic book legend. We got people from Walking Dead, voice actors from Futurama, Ren and Stimpy, Animaniacs, Pinky, Rob Paulson. I mean, Raphael. You know what I'm saying? We got Power Rangers there. Lou Ferrigno, of course, who cares? The voice of the Brain from Pinky and the Brain. So we had the Brain and Pinky and the voice of Egon as well. Of course, we got Catherine Sutherland there from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Got a good lineup this year, y'all. We got Felisa Rose from Sleepaway Camp, Victor Crowley. Eric Estrada. Even the voice of Pocahontas. Check that out. And there's some wrestlers, too. I think, what's his name? Dusty Rhodes? Not Dusty Rhodes. I don't know. Whatever. Goldust, I think, is going to be there. Somebody. I don't know. Whatever. There's some wrestlers there, too. Kane's going to be there as well. So that's pretty dope. All right. So that's the show. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. This has been a great show. We talked about a lot of great subjects and topics, movie reviews, things like that and more. We'll be back next. We got Snyder and Capullo also so far, hoping for more. Hell yeah. Dustin Rhodes. Yeah, thank you so much for that. Yeah, Dusty Rhodes is dead. As soon as I said that, I was like, it's not Dusty Rhodes. I know it's not Goldust. Is it? No. Okay. Anyway, we're dipping out. Thank you guys so much coming up here on the channel. April Fool's Day PCP movie review tomorrow night. For PCP movie night, monthly comic book review Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central Time. Dylan's Horror Show, Midsummer on Saturday. Y'all, this has been the Bee's Knees. Y'all are the best. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, and all that jazz. Station. I mean, that's it. That's all we got. There's nothing else to do.
Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have your doubts, not what I'm about, have your fucking cloud, it be raining now, I keep making sound, go another round, bitch I'm legend bound, can't stop me now. You don't wanna fuck with me.
That's right, that's right.
Slow burn like a disease.
Like a disease. Pestilence and famine. 4 horsemen of apocalypse you couldn't believe.
Just tell me that I can.
Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Yo, yo. Just tell me that I can't, and I'll take you to school. And just tell me that I can't, and I'll prove you a fool. You don't have the tools, you don't understand my rules. Let me tell you, motherfuckers, everybody come and rule. Tell me that I can't, and I'll prove you fucking wrong. I'm the one who is hijacking this song.
Didn't say anything negative, cause I just wanna hear it out your mouth, yeah. Give me fuel, it's a tool that I use to go ahead and run my fucking mouth, yeah. I take shots, I take loss, I make shots, I miss lots. That's how you get big box, you get yachts, you swing lots and pop off a big shot. I ain't done chasing, got big dreams, bigger things, impatient. Who's at the top think they need replacement? Who's at the top think I'm gonna erase them? Face it, I don't give up quick, I don't give up shit, I won't give up this. Cause I know that I want it, know that I'm on it, I'll make it, I promise. You don't wanna fuck with me,
fuck with me.
A slow burn like
I get disease like a disease.
Just tell me that I
Can I show you things that you could not believe? Just tell me that I can. 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 You don't wanna fuck with me, I come and rock you. You don't wanna fuck with me. Yeah. I'm extreme like Marvel in the 90s, don't you know? Everybody wants to go toe-to-toe with the pro, but Rockin Robbie's in the know with the PCP glow. Everybody, oh, yo, what? You gotta roll.
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, doing no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad,
Yeah.
baby, I'm bad.
I just wanna stay bad, stay mad, chip on my shoulder cause they treat me like an outcast. I ain't gonna take that, stay back, I'll be swinging hard till the hits come in all caps. I ain't gonna lay back, pray that someone's gonna help me, ain't nobody like that. I ain't gonna wait, that's all fact, give me one shot and I'll never get the throne back. I'm sick of being cautious, I'ma go cause something, can't stop this. I'ma steal everybody's lane, call it shoplift. Sick of hearing everyone complain when they thoughtless. Taste the pain, it's like candy canes. It makes me go change into a better frame, into a better name. Society's insane, we all live for fame, yeah. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, do it no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad. I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, do it no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, do it no cap. Only God wants you, better go this life, I'm crazy, I'm mad. Do it no cap, only got one, so you better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad. I got cash in the bag, stadium packed. Put a rock star in this life, I'm living up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life, I'm crazy, I'm mad. Do it no cap, only got one, so you better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad.
So the music that I've been playing for these last several shows is from this dude Neffex, Neffex. You can find his shit on YouTube. He makes it available royalty free. Anybody can use it for anything, and I think that's pretty cool. And that's how I came across his music. Obviously, looking for royalty free music here to play in between and the little breaks and stuff. And I really am impressed with some of his shit. And I also happen to really respond lyrically to a lot of his shit. So anyway, that's Neffex, who we've been hearing. We're about to unbox this Friday the 13th NECA action figure. That's Kane Hodder in his first appearance. This is my favorite Jason interpretation as far as the look of the character. He's fully a zombie, from a full zombie, basically, a full supernatural creature, I say from the beginning. But some would argue that. But definitely from Jason Lives and On. And this is the one where he looks the gnarliest. And I love Kane Hodder as Jason. I met him, obviously, last year. So we're opening this up. NECA does a great job. They've done so many Jason figures. But each one is, handpicked from each movie. Accurate sculpts with accurate weapons as well. So let's see if we can get this dude out. He's got all these twisty ties. He's got a removable mask here, and he's got the other head too. Damn twisty ties, man. Always in my way. Don't you know? Gotta save the day. This might take a minute. It's okay. It's post-credits after all. I think this is the last one for now. Hold on. Let's just... Patience, darling. Patience. Y'all really need to go see X. It's a good movie. Apparently they've already shot a prequel for it. Oh, what the hell is going on with this last one? Just cutting it. Should just cut it from the beginning. All right, let's get this Jason out. Well, what the fuck is all that? All right, he's got tons of weapons from the movie. He's got that extra head right there. But let's just take a look at the figure. We'll worry about everything else later on. Looks great. He's got his Jason, suit on, if you will. Gnarled out. You can see the rib cage. Oh, you can see the spine. The detail on this is really good. He could be bigger here. That's something I equate with Kane Hodder's Jason, but it is consistent with the other molds. The only other one I have is the Part 3 one. No, it's Final Chapter. It's Final Chapter. That's the one I got. I like Jason in Final Chapter and Part 3. But this is my favorite one, so I love the look. I don't see how different a Jason Takes Manhattan one's going to be. except for having different weapons. He's got the chain around his neck, but let's see what he looks like. All right, so the other head is just his mouth open. It's that moment where he gets unmasked. Could be a little bit more broad in the shoulders. Oh, but man, that works. That's awesome. Trying to get it to focus for you. Just have to pull it out a little bit more. There you go. Looks pretty dope. All right, I like it. I like it. Thank you all for everything. Y'all been the best. Pop, pop, boom!